Willie Fritz's team last week was down 14-7 when Pratt came off the bench and went in at quarterback, and all they did was win the game 66-24. So he talked about the fact that you earn your right based on performance to get into this spot, and Michael Pratt certainly earned it last week. This has been the Nissan pregame rush. Houston will start with the football. Marquez Stevenson. He returned a couple of kicks last season for touchdowns. He'll watch this one go. And so here comes Clayton Tune. And a Houston offense that has been, as we said, chomping at the bit to get on the field last season. De'Ara King, the surprise redshirt. He decides to then leave and end up in Miami. So Clayton Tune takes over for De'Ara King. Last season, 2019, turned out to be a year where he would end up starting 7 games. He's got 19 touchdowns against 11 interceptions in 12 career games. And he'll start from his own 25-yard line. And the air raid goes up top on first down. Drops it in down the sideline. And it looks like they will credit Speedy Stevenson with the catch and a quick first down for the Cougars.
You'd imagine seeing a lot of this early and often. Great job out front, sorting out the twist, and then give your best player a chance in space going up against a safety. Chase Kirshen on that one. That's a matchup Tulane may not want to go back to.
They waste no time. Keith Corbin, he picks up about 3.5.
And Bob, you see the tempo already from Houston's offense. This is something I was curious about coming off of that training camp hiatus, that 53-day extended training camp. Are they going to have their legs under them enough to go into this now seeing game speed for the first time?
Tune out of the pocket, and he'll throw this one away. You wonder how aggressive Tulane will be tonight, bringing pressure. Are they just going to count on their front four to try and get after Tune, or are they going to have to dial up some pressure looks as well?
Listen, we know Dana Holgerson's version of the air raid is a little different, but what did we see recently? If you're majoring in man coverage versus an air raid offense, LSU and Mississippi State, things tend not to go well. So you'd like for Patrick Johnson, number 7, you saw with that pressure, Cameron Sample, number 5, the other side, to be able to get after the quarterback with that 4-down rush here on 3rd and 6.
The 2 defensive ends for the Green Wave are going to have big nights, you would think, as now a timeout will be called from the sideline by Dana Holgerson.
Timeout, Houston, third first of the half. 30 seconds in length.
Let's take a look at our impact players.
Clayton Tune, the obvious one, and you saw right off the bat, Marquez Stevenson, speedy. And a receiving core that Dana Holgerson said was the fastest he's ever coached. They bring back their top 4 wideouts, and then those DNs, outside linebacker bodies for Tulane. Stout, solid rushers that are really going to need to make an impact. This D-line for Tulane averaging just over 10 tackles for loss per game so far this season. They're going to have to live in the backfield tonight if they want a chance.
After the timeout, 3rd down and 6. And Tulane showing blitz. Play clock not nearly near 0, so that flinch may have cost 5 yards for Houston. Let's see. Tulane thought they spotted a false start. I'm not sure if the officials will agree.
Reset the game clock. Second.
Looks like we've got a timing error. And the clock was off by about 2 minutes.
Just a bit outside.
Gonna try and run for it with Kyle Porter, and he won't get anywhere near the first down. So now an early decision for Houston to make. You'd have to think, though, you're running the ball maybe there on 3rd down because you know you're going for it on 4th down?
Made with 4th down in mind, and I'd imagine they go back to the ground right here.
So an early 4th down as the Cougars will go for it. Here comes the blitz. Toone's in trouble, and he throws an interception. The pressure works to perfection. Macon Clark down the sideline. That's a pick six for the Green Wave to start. We wondered if Tulane was going to dial up some pressures and come after Clayton Tune. They just did, and it scores them a touchdown. Eric Glover adds the extra point, and it's 7-0 Tulane.
The turnover beads come out, and with good reason, but make no mistake, this started up front. You see 5 up and then adding the extra blitzer in the middle, flushes Tune out for an ill-advised throw as he's being taken down. And just as we mentioned, getting pressure with 4, Tulane not content to sit back. They go on the attack. Kevin Henry gets the pressure that makes it an easy house call for Macon Clark. Scot-free up the middle there, and that's the difficulty. You see those 5 players all mugged up near the line of the scrimmage for Tulane's defense. That Houston offensive line's got to make decision. They've got their eyes occupied there, and if the ball's not coming out quick, that blitzer's got a free hit. Quarterback's got to know that.
Keith Corbin, the intended receiver, also came up with a bit of a limp, so we'll see if he is able to get back on the field, because Houston, they'll be right back to the offense. Marcus Jones, he is back deep to receive along with Stevenson. Didn't take long for the Green Wave to have to kick it off again, and it'll come right back out to the 25-yard line after their defense scores. Now, you don't play through the first 5 weeks of the season. Everybody else has games under their belt. How much of this, communication-wise for an offensive line, diagnosing where pressure is coming from, has to do with rust, maybe, where this opposition, they've been playing for 3 or 4 weeks, and this is your first game action?
Absolutely. All of that communication in real time with the crowd. There's 10,000 people out here in the stands, and against a D-line whose front 4 came into this season with 110 combined starts.
Tune will have to have amnesia, and he is able to find Keith Corbin, so Corbin able to stay on the field as he came up a bit lame after he was the intended receiver on the Macon Clark pick to start off the scoring for Tulane.
And so now you've got to do one of the toughest things in football, turn the page and get on to the next play as they go right back to tempo, get him out of thinking.
And they'll easily pick up the first down. Into the secondary goes Porter, and he's out to midfield.
And this is the big difference. The Dana Holgorsen air raid loves to get with it on the ground. You see a 5-man box from the defense, and the running back's job, Kyle Porter, to make one miss in space. Tough open field tackling look for Kirshen.
4-man rush, Tune well protected. Finds a crosser, that's Speedy Stevenson. Brought down after a gain of 3. Like Nick Anderson was able to stay with him and make a nice open field tackle.
He jogs off the field there, but when we asked Clayton Tune what he loves throwing, said he loves throwing that deep post and he loves throwing it to 5 because it is impossible to overthrow that guy. He's going to come back and get under everything.
Mulbacar finds a lane and a cutback alley. All the way down to about the Tulane 23-yard line before he's finally brought down.
And a great job getting to this stretch zone. Watch number 85, the tight end, getting all the way up to the 3rd level and getting just enough tracking on that zone play, springing a big run to get them down near the red zone. Expect a shot going towards the end zone here now with plenty of space to work with for Clayton Tune.
to the end zone. It's a 50-50 ball. And Jeremy Singleton, the intended receiver, may have drawn a penalty on Jalen Monroe.
And this is why you leave it a little bit underneath for your receiver. Let him try and come back to it. Toon sees Jalen Monroe's eyes straight into the chest of his offensive player. Bob, the minute you see that back turn as a quarterback, your eyes light up because you know you can turn it loose. Give your guy a shot at it. Best case, a touchdown. Worst case, you're working inside the 10.
So 1st and goal. Houston trying to come back from the pick 6 to start. Toon, quarterback run. Lowers his shoulders. Brought down at the 5-yard line where it will be 2nd down and goal.
And again, as you look at air raid staples, that stick draw and using the quarterback's legs, they said Clayton Toon's a better athlete than he's going to get credit for. And I think getting him involved early, especially going up the middle, this Houston team's going to want to try and take advantage of athletic mismatches in the middle of the field all night. Remind them that your quarterback is willing to take off, and I have a feeling some of those windows start to get a little wider.
Now this offense should create some run-friendly box counts, I would think, for a quarterback to take off once in a while. This time, he'll give it to Mulbacar, and that's easy does it for the Cougars as Carr goes over from 5 yards out, and Houston's on the board.
And you mentioned, Bob, this offense getting some favorable box looks. How about a 2-man backfield to give you an extra blocker at the point of attack? You see 22 getting up and getting involved, counter action from the line, and a walk-in touchdown for Houston to even it up.
So Mulbacar gets the first touchdown of the season for the Cougars. And Dalton Witherspoon makes it a 7-7 game. Haven't even played 4 full minutes yet. Already fireworks on Thursday Night Football.
ESPN College Football is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Welcome back to Thursday Night College Football presented by Capital One. Bob Wischusen, Mike Golick Jr., Chris Budden. 7-7 tie. A defensive score for Tulane. And then a terrific offensive answer for Houston. So we've barely played about 4 minutes. Mari Jones is back deep to receive the kick now as will be sent deep by Baxa. And we'll get our first look at the true freshman quarterback Michael Pratt, at least in tonight's game. He played extraordinarily well off the bench in a blowout win over Southern Miss last week, but tonight his first career start. And Mike, it does seem to be a little different, the weight on the shoulders, especially of a true freshman, when now you're not coming off the bench to do your best to dig a team out of a hole. Now this game is on you from the start. We're all looking to you.
It's the difference when you know you're the guy going into the meeting rooms during the week, even the virtual ones that we've got in 2020. Being the man and having those eyes on you is something they feel pretty confident Pratt can shoulder the load of. Their offensive coordinator, Will Hall, said he has got boatloads of swag, as the kids say.
You're a kid. It's as the kids say.
Quoting him, quoting me, it all works.
Yeah. I do feel more bald spot appropriate on this crew than I do with Dan Orlovsky usually.
It's a safe space, no
Here's
doubt.
Cameron Carroll using the stiff arm, and he's knocked out of bounds. That's a 1-yard loss on first down. So just like that, got a true freshman quarterback on the road, prime time, national television, and you're behind the chains on the second snap of the night. Nice play action fake and a flip into the left flat to Tyrick James, the tight end. And he's about 3 yards shy of a first down, so it brings up an early 3rd down for the Green Wave.
And this is a Green Wave with a lot of confidence in their offensive line up front, led by Sincere Haynesworth, who Willie Fritz said, that's a Power 5 center who just happens to be about 6 feet tall. Put it in the hands of your group up front. Tons of experience on that left side and tons of talented youth. A couple of true freshmen in Josh Remedich and Trey Tuggle holding down the right.
4-man rush. Low throw, incomplete. Had a man open, but was not able to find Amari Jones, so it's a 3-and-out for Tulane to start.
We talked about the ends for Tulane, but you see Peyton Turner coming off the right side against one of those freshmen, getting around at the end. Party at the quarterback there early on as they force a punt. And now this Houston offense that got into a little bit of rhythm, going to get the ball in pretty decent field position here for their third drive.
Ryan Wright will kick it to Marcus Jones. Jones retreating to the 15-yard line and goes down right there. So a field position flip for the Green Wave. A nice punt by Ryan Wright.
Football means to me just being able to live out my dream and be a role model back to the kids back at home.
Brotherhood and unity and opportunities for greatness.
College football allows me to better myself as an individual and as a man on and off the field.
It's an opportunity for me to change my life and do better out here.
Football has allowed me to be a positive impact on other people's lives.
Personally, I feel like it changed my life for the better.
I think it has created and built massive character in my life and prepared me to be the man I am today.
Bob Wischusen, Mike Golick Jr., Chris Budden, and that cute little guy here on Thursday Night Football from Houston. The Green Wave and the Cougars tied at 7. And you know, Mike, so much effort, obviously, even on the part of the players, went into making sure that this college football season got played in some way, shape, or form. As trying to grind out a yard is Mo McCarr. What do you think it means to the players on the field, even playing in largely empty stadiums, to put these uniforms on and get some type of a college football season? Even if you're Houston, you start tonight and you're only playing 9 games this year.
It's got to be a huge sigh of relief, especially over the summer where we all had a lot of days where we thought this wasn't going to happen, and you had to have some of those thoughts entering your mind on multiple occasions, keeping each other up and accountable, finally paying off for you in the form of fall Thursdays and Saturdays.
Clayton Tune lost the football. It might be another defensive touchdown, and it is for Tulane. Tune throws a pick 6, and now he coughs one up, and it becomes a defensive score for Jeffrey Johnson.
And don't look now, we're calling the same name on this pressure. Last time it was up the middle, this time it's coming off the right-hand side. An unbelievable job.
Kevin Henry does it again, as he is a free runner on a blitz that created the pick 6. And now he loops around and strips the ball away from Clayton Tune. 2 defensive touchdowns for Tulane, and we have yet to play 6 minutes.
The turnover beads, I hope they're fastened tightly over there, because right now they're coming out early and often for the big fella, Jeffrey Johnson.
(14-7) Tulane. Tulane has run 3 plays on offense, a 3-and-out. That's all they have to show for their offense so far tonight, and yet they've got 14 points on the board.
An incredible job, and we talked about him last time. Kevin Henry, number 33 right here, creating free rush opportunities. And you see everyone going down, you create a one-on-one there on the outside, and he comes in with the Khalil Mack-like strip on the outside. This is what modern football has become, going with the edge of that quarterback. Patrick Johnson clearing out with the spin move there to create a free look for Kevin Henry that ends in a big boy touchdown. One of the most marvelous sights in all of sports, Bob. Drink it in.
Oh. Well, Kevin Henry's a grad transfer from Oklahoma State. He's from Baton Rouge. So he just wanted to play football for one more season, someplace where his family could come to all of the games, and then coronavirus hits. So the main reason that he's at Tulane, he was hoping there'd be fans in the stands and his family would be able to take the games in. And of course, a pandemic hits. Well, it still looks like it's worked out for him tonight, because he's created 14 points for his team.
Wherever they're watching, they are smiling right now, seeing the job he's done early, and the job Jack Curtis, their defensive coordinator, has done early, dialing up some pressures and getting free hitters on Clayton Tune.
Another touchback. It will come out to the 25-yard line. Plenty of news and notes in the world, not only of college football, but also the NFL. And it all stems from the pandemic that we're currently in. Our prayers and thoughts go to Les Miles, as the head coach at KU has tested positive for coronavirus. So hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. The Broncos and Patriots have moved from Sunday to Monday to allow for more recovery time and negative tests for the Patriots, and all of the positive tests that have fallen with the Titans and Bills. Their game goes now from Sunday to Tuesday. Now the Bills were supposed to play the Chiefs on Thursday. That game now moves to the following Sunday. As Clayton Tune in trouble, and he's going to go down again. So everyone, Mike, has to be nimble in the world of college football, in the world of pro football. Houston had 5 games at the start of their college season canceled, and now you've got teams bouncing games all over the schedule to try to get them all played in the midst of a pandemic.
And we know the NFL had a lot less wiggle room. Think what the Big Ten is getting ready to deal with, and a lot of the conferences yet to return who don't have those bye weeks as open spots and open dates.
That's a great point. Check down to Chandler Smith. Makes it 3rd and manageable for the Cougars.
And we've seen them have some success running outside early. You saw the 2 backs down by the goal line. But you're wondering if that stretch zone's another opportunity here with a long 3.
Diving catch made by Stevenson. Nope, they're going to say incomplete. So the 4th Houston possession in less than 6 minutes ends with a 3 and out.
And it's been a choppy start that you might expect from a team, and a great job by Macon Clark getting a fist in there and punching that football out on contact. But it's been rocking up and down right now. A team that had 53 days to prepare, that kept having to stop and go, hurry up and wait. Right now, the story of the first 4 offensive drives for Houston.
Amari Jones going to let this one go out of bounds up near the 40-yard line. So this should be excellent field position for the Green Wave with a 7-point lead.
Welcome back to Houston as we take a look at Hurricane Delta's path. Is expected to make landfall tomorrow. Tulane will get back home late this evening before it's expected to hit New Orleans. In case they do have any severe weather there, they have an off-campus hotel they can go to. We're starting to see some of those outer bands hit the Houston area. It's starting to get dark just within about the last 20 minutes. And Bob, a little bit of sprinkling on and off coming from those clouds.
2020, I think, is all we can say, as it's back to the offense now for the Green Wave. And jitterbugging to the outside is Amari Jones. He picks up a couple of yards. We have had so many name storms. We are now into the Greek alphabet because we have run out of names. And talk about an area of the country that is storm weary and does not need another rainstorm, much less a hurricane. As Michael Pratt checks one down. And that's caught by Jones, close to a first down. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
And Amari Jones, a guy who's such a great special teams player, them 5th in the American in all-purpose yards last year. They want to get more touches and involvement in this offense because he's so versatile.
Up tempo and a first down. Jones dives forward for about 3.
And Willie Fritz, well known for being one of the more analytically inclined coaches in college football. And we see now, as you're across the 50, you're nearing 4-down territory from here on out. And Will Hall, their offensive coordinator, just needs to know that decision-making process, how it's going to go around 2nd down, so it allows him to have a better job and an easier time calling plays with the downs, distances, and the mentality they're going to take into each drive.
Well, that time they went Wildcat, direct snap to Amari Jones, but he was shut down right at the line of scrimmage.
And he's going to stay out there, give them some quarterback run options here. Remember, this is a team only 2 years removed from running triple option looks themselves.
Direct snap again. They try the same play, basically the same result. Amari Jones grinds out just a couple of yards. Donovan Mutin was waiting for him, the heart of that Houston defense. So now it's 3rd down and 8.
3rd down and 8, and your quarterback, they moved the pocket to help him a bit last time. Think maybe go to that because, again, you're in 4-down territory in this area of the field. So all you need to do is get 4 yards here, 3 yards here, put yourself in a manageable 4th down situation that we know they're not afraid to get up to the line, go tempo, and get off a quick run right after that for the first.
Cougars show blitz. They'll rush 4. Pratt off his spot. Tucks it under. He'll try and run for it and gets a 1st down and then some. Terrific decision by a true freshman. As he got out of the pocket, makes a big play.
They said last week the moment didn't look too big for him. And I'm not allowed to tattle on the community. We might have got away with a bit of a hold there at right guard, but enough for a 1st down, nearing the red zone for a team that can get back to the ground game that it loves so much.
Quarterback keeper. And Pratt stood up right at the line. So it will be 2nd down and 10. Is that the code of offensive linemen? You see holding as clear as day on television, and you just have to swallow the whistle yourself?
No flag, no hold, Bob.
Got it.
That is the law of the land. And I'm not one to betray the trust, especially we talked about it before. As you see, Corey Dublin there coming into this one, 41 consecutive starts. A lot of experience on that side versus the youth on the other side. But this team we talked so much about, Michael Pratt came in against Southern Miss and they had this offensive turnaround, but so many of their big plays came from the run game. One you saw Pratt getting involved in a bit there.
Well, the officials apparently went over to the Tulane sideline, and somehow the Green Wave have been given the down back, so it is still 1st down and 10. And a straight ahead run gets 4.
And whether
Cam Carroll picks up 4, it'll be 2nd down and 6.
Cam Carroll, 8 touchdowns on the young season so far, leading the country, and a guy who had to step up. Tajay Spears, number 22 for them, a great back, goes down in their last game with a season-ending injury. And so the rest of this group, a deep group, has to pick up the slack.
Cameron Carroll finds a cutback lane, 2 yards shy of a 1st down. But that puts the Green Wave in the red zone. Anini makes the stop. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
And again, this is an area of the field where you've got a comfortable knowledge that you can go for it on 4th down. This might be a good looking shot at the end zone. You've got Mikel Jones singled up near the bottom. Maybe look his way as you've got DBs pressed up on your wideouts.
Little option pitch and a fumble. And jumping on top of it is the quarterback, Michael Pratt. So that will undoubtedly end up as a field goal opportunity for Tulane, as the muff on 3rd down makes it 4th and long.
And these are all timing things right here. Being in phase, it's called, with that pitch player as a quarterback, understanding your relation to him and just having the reps underneath your belt, getting it out there. All things for a guy making his first start as a true freshman that are going to come with time. Unfortunately, that doesn't help them there.
So Merrick Lover, 4th all-time in Tulane history in points scored. And that's why. Very consistent kicker. Puts it through, and it's a 10-point lead for the Green Wave. We'll have Game 5 of the NBA Finals tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, on ABC, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. LeBron and the Lakers back in control of the series, up 3-1 over Jimmy Buckets and the Heat. Our coverage starts with NBA Countdown at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific. Will it be ring number 4 in Finals appearance number 10 for LeBron tomorrow night?
10th finals appearance. I mean, my NBA lifetime is basically the LeBron James show in this, and what he's done bringing a franchise that after Kobe Bryant left the Lakers, unfortunately the late Kobe Bryant, a franchise that had really lost its way on the basketball court, and LeBron James, in a matter of years, able to bring them back to the stage that they're accustomed to being on, and now on the cusp of adding to a pretty impressive legacy already.
So rarely in sports. Think about the number of times you hear a name from an athlete in high school, and from the time you hear that guy's name in high school, he turns out to be everything that you were told he was going to be when he was 16 years old.
On and off the court, remarkable.
Well, Houston is down by 10, and they have been, Mike Golick Jr., their own worst enemy.
You've got to limit the catastrophe early on here for Houston. That's the good stuff, getting the ball away. Free hitters have been the issue, and Kevin Henry has been a nightmare for them, getting some great schemed up looks at the quarterback, Clayton Tune, for Houston, and forcing a couple of defensive scores. Houston's got to get back out here and just get back into some rhythm, avoid the big mistake by doing what Dana Holgorsen and this offense want to do. Get a few pass plays down the field to loosen things up, and then start to really pound in the middle of this defense in the run game.
Kyle Porter on first down. Picks up about 3. Again, Tulane has played 3 games already. Many teams in college football have played 4 games at this point. And yet Houston had 5 different opponents going back to the beginning of the season cancel. As no team more emblematic of the problems of trying to play during a pandemic than the Cougars, but they pick up a first down and more here. Speedy Stevenson lost the football. Was he down? They'll say no. It is a fumble recovery for Darius Hodges, and another giveaway by the Cougars.
Another thing you're probably not getting in this extended training camp, live punches at the football. We see it hits off his own knee as he's getting dragged down and comes loose. All the little things that come with game reps that Stevenson has, and just another nightmare scenario for this Houston offense.
No doubt about it, fumble. He was being dragged down on a pretty benign tackle by Marvin Moody, and with his own knee knocks the ball out. So another opportunity for a true freshman quarterback, Michael Pratt, with great field position starting at midfield after the 3rd turnover by Houston. First 2 result in defensive scores. Pratt takes a shot to the sideline, and Deuce Watts, strong hands to pull that one down for a gain of 10.
Deuce Watts, one of the twins, him and his brother Fat, number 3, who you'll see in this offense, going up and getting it. What a high point. As we know all about this ground game, this is a receiving core that really, outside of Jacob Robertson, doesn't come in with a ton of gain experience for Tulane, as they've leaned on this running back depth through the early portion of the season.
Pratt tucks it under and runs again. He's got another first down. Slides. Caught from behind by Donovan Mutin, but there is a flag down.
Got that much room to run, there's usually a reason.
Offense.
We are having some problems with our referee microphone, but you may have been able to make out that that's the left tackle, Joey Claybrook, 79, right in the middle of your picture, guilty of the hold.
A veteran on this line here gets the swim move on the inside, and boy, when it's jammed up like that, again, I know I'm biased as an offensive lineman, but that's a pretty weak holding call based on what we're used to seeing, everyone mashed up inside there.
That puts them right back at midfield, but now it's first down and 20. Stephon Hutterson picks up 8.
Now we're seeing Tulane go to this 2 running back backfield, try and buy you an extra blocker on some of these run plays, create a different alignment by the defense, and try and buy yourself a gap here. as they get back up to the line and try and get ready to go.
Play action. Easy check down to Hutterson. First down and more. Nice play design by Tulane, making it very easy on a true freshman quarterback, Michael Pratt. High percentage completions and very efficiently moving the ball.
And very similar to what you'd see on rollout plays going to a tight end here, where all of a sudden same backfield action you're getting on these runs, bodies going across the formation, and then you just squeak him out to the backside. And you see with this personnel, with Amari Jones and the capability he has as a receiver, being able to keep your pedal on the gas and the defense, no chance to substitute.
Broken tackle by Amari Jones, trying to fight his way back to the line of scrimmage. He'll lose only one, but could have lost a handful.
And this is a great job and understanding by Peyton Turner, number 98, flying upfield, seeing that motion, and just getting Amari Jones to stop his feet. That's all you need on these east-west plays so that the rest of the cavalry can come calling.
What might be the last play of the first quarter, and a wild first quarter it has been. Tulane with 2 touchdowns, both scored by their defense. Play clock at 5, second down and 11. They'll keep it on the ground. And to start the second quarter, it'll be third down and long for the Green Wave at the 25-yard line of the Cougars. Well, Willie Fritz gets 2 scores from his defense in the first quarter. A pick 6 by Macon Clark. A fumble caused by Kevin Henry. Recovered in the end zone by Jeffrey Johnson. And Tulane's got the 10-point lead. Fritz coaching his 4th game this season for Dana Holgorsen. On the right, head coach, of course, of the Cougars. This is their opener, and they are showing that opening game rust by turning it over 3 times in the first quarter, a couple of times resulting in defensive touchdowns for Tulane. And now the Green Wave facing third down and 9 to start the second quarter. Bob Wischusen, Mike Golick Jr., Chris Budden on Thursday Night Football, and a deflected pass finds its way to Jacob Robertson for a first down.
And a great job coming off the bunch side to your left. You see another 5-man rush. They get just enough up front, gets tipped. But Robertson coming towards the middle away from that bunch, finds an easy look at a first down. And now I'd expect a healthy dose of this inside zone Tulane loves to run.
Hutterson on 1st and 10 from the 11. Slippery down to about the 7-yard line, picks up 4. Brought down by Giovanni Stewart. Grad transfer from West Virginia and played for Dana Holgorsen there. Hutterson again. Down to the 1-yard line. That should be good for a first down. It looks like it will be first down and goal for the Green Wave from the 1.
And they told us when the game's on the line and they need yardage, tempo, tight inside zone.
Stephon Hutterson loses a yard with a flag down as well.
Maybe too much tempo. Oh, and it looks like it got the desired effect. A defense struggling to get lined up right. I think you're going to have a defender in the neutral zone.
I think Donovan Mutin was more than just in the neutral zone.
Half the distance to the goal line. Repeat first down.
It's just about lined up in the backfield. Line of scrimmage is at the 1, and number 3 in red was lined up at about the 2.
And that's why you're running that tempo if you're Tulane. Let's test and see how the game speed looks for Houston's defense the first time out. They had a slow, disjointed start because their defense.
Quarterback sneak, a little push for Michael Pratt. Is he in? It is a touchdown. So the Green Wave extend their lead. Michael Pratt with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season.
And unfortunately, I don't think all the pointing is going to help Houston all too much here. And again, guys getting lined up just at the snap. as you see Pratt going up over the top, the massive humanities. That's all that is elbows and teeth down there. Everyone just trying to crab out of there, and your freshman goes up over the top, ball across the plane. No doubter.
If this point after goes through, this will be 21 points off turnovers. And there it is. 24 on the board for Tulane, and 21 courtesy of Houston giveaways. We're just beginning the college football weekend. What a way to end it. Saturday Night Football, 7:30 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. De'Ara King, Trevor Lawrence, they square off. It's Miami and Clemson in a top 10 matchup. And with the resurgence of the Canes, boy, it makes that game highly anticipated. Bob Wischusen and Mike Golick Jr. and Chris Budden bringing you an American Conference matchup between Tulane and Houston. And the Cougars so far have served this one up for Tulane. 21 points off of turnovers for the Green Wave. I'm really excited to watch De'Ara King on Saturday night. Of course, he ends up as a redshirt transfer to Miami after putting up wonderful numbers for Houston. And now he's got the Canes in the top 10.
He does it. There are very few players in college football that bend the field, that have the defense's eyes all focused on him before each and every snap, because you can get the rest of the play fitted up perfectly, and one in that Hurricanes uniform can make you wrong in a heartbeat. He is an angle eraser.
Clayton Tune, incomplete. Tried to fit one into Jeremy Singleton. Well, Chris Budden, obviously there are some fans in the building, but this is not your normal college football atmosphere.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that you gain experience with through 2020 football season is needing to create your own energy, because even though there's only 10,000 fans here, it doesn't feel very loud. It still feels very quiet, and you start to notice kind of a flat sideline on that Houston side. Clayton Tune, trying to keep his guys in it, will go up after each series saying, stay with it, but that's something that is different that comes with playing each game in this football season.
And now it's 3rd down and 11.
And it's incredible, and you're used to having all the advantages that come with playing in your home stadium, and instead now you're right. It's a great point by Chris. Every other team's gotten a crack at this, understands how difficult the prospect of making that energy is.
Tune sets up the screen to Mulbacar. He's got room to run. Well-designed screen and a 3rd down conversion, much needed for the Cougars.
And a great job of timing on this screen. Watch him stay in phase with these offensive linemen, give his big boys time to get out front, and there's plenty of room. A great job sealing off the inside and creating a great lane for the running back.
Delayed handoff to Carr. He lost a couple. Did not fool Dorian Williams.
And a great job by Dorian Williams right now. You've seen him kind of staying down there, spying on the quarterback after we saw Clayton Tune use his legs a few times early on. Mirroring the back on those last couple of plays. He's been active for them early.
Led the team in tackles with 10 last week against Southern Miss. Blitz off the edge, picked up. Tune has time, finds a soft spot in the zone, and Keith Corbin. Well, that time the pass protection held up, and Clayton Tune made it pay off.
And a great job by Mulbacar, you see right there, fitting up. You got players up in the line of scrimmage, they drop out, you get the blitzer coming off the edge trying to buy up the eyes, but Mulbacar not fooled. And when your quarterback's got time, he's got an easy pitch and catch down the field when you get some of those zone blitzes.
Again, the pass protection there. Tune wants a deep shot down the sideline, and with one arm hauling it in inside the 5-yard line is Trayvon Bradley.
And again, another great deep ball by Clayton Tune. And what concentration Bradley using and being physical, almost like a basketball player, boxing out there, using that back arm to shield himself, give his right arm some space to work. Set him up right down by the goal line. We saw that two-back formation come out. We're seeing the diamond here.
And that diamond formation may have caused the sideline for Tulane to say, hold up a second. We don't have a defense drawn up for this, so a timeout called on defense.
Has plenty of elements of the air raid offense, going all the way back to Mike Leach and Hal Mummy. Unbelievable mullet look right there. But the tree that's branched off of that is one where we've seen concepts take over not only college football, the Lincoln Rileys of the world, Sonny Dykes, but Cliff Kingsbury now bringing it to the NFL. Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, all these great guys bringing to Sunday what we've seen on Saturday, and the evolution for so long. The original air raid, you think, spread out, run and gun. But Dana Holgorsen, when he was the offensive coordinator here at Houston, those two-back sets. When he got to Oklahoma State, you saw some of this. These three-back diamond backfields, trying to give some misdirection, some eye candy. It's all the growth and evolution of this offense under Dana Holgorsen.
Lob pass into the end zone. Underthrown for Stevenson, but a flag out. Willie Langham was trying to stay with Marquez Stevenson. And it looks like Speedy draws a penalty.
And Bob, again,
set of downs.
These are designed underthrows. You're giving your guy a chance to go up and get it and come back through the defender. Because again, you see Eight's back is turned to the quarterback, so he knows he's not going to see that ball until the last minute and run right into your wide receiver.
First and goal from the 2. Keelan Walker is brought down at the 1. You know, it is amazing when you think about how the whole collective world of football just gave side-eye to Mike Leach and Hal Mummy back in the day, right? And now in the NFL, star quarterbacks, some of the most efficient and explosive offenses in professional football, have the air raid as a part of their DNA.
3 #1 picks, and oh, by the way, Patrick Mahomes, who's pretty good.
Yeah, he's not bad. Again, that same lob into the end zone. Incomplete. This time an overthrow for Stevenson. Now it's 3rd down and goal from the 1.
This is just my time to re-up and join one of our colleagues, a great NFL analyst, Mina Kimes, as someone who is very anti-goal line fade, as you give another look at one of your great receivers. And I understand it when you like the matchup, when you like and trust the receiver like Stevenson, but now in this situation, put it on the ground, let your line go to work.
Malbakar. That's a Mina Kimes play to the goal line. Short. Now it's 4th down and goal from inside the 1. I have to think Mina approves of the play call here, right? Power football from the 1-yard line, but
absolutely,
he doesn't get in.
But great penetration by this Tulane defensive line, and we said they're going to have to live behind the backfield. And an easy decision here. Get right over the top, let your quarterback keep it, just like we saw from Tulane.
Quarterback sneak, a push for Clayton Tune. Did he get in? No signal as of yet. Tulane thinks they've got him stopped. It's a touchdown. Very late signal coming in from the head linesman along the near sideline. But somehow in the middle of that pile, Clayton Tune found his way across the chalk and is credited for a touchdown.
And this was the difficulty for Tune. He couldn't get the ball from out underneath his center initially. Another issue with the exchange, some of the ball handling that we've seen tonight for Houston. Tune comes out of there. Normally, you'll see quarterbacks, think Matthew Stafford in the NFL, dive over the pile, poke that football out. He gets it stuck on his center's rear end right there and has to rely on everyone pushing him from behind. So another instance where they get in because they're so close to the goal line, but the way you went about executing that still leaves a lot to be desired.
And when you're laying on top of your teammates, unless the officials come in and say forward progress is stopped, he wasn't down. You can keep grinding the ball and in the middle of all those bodies try and get it across the goal line. And he did.
And we know in a post-Bush push era, you are allowed to help him over the goal line.
He got just enough help, but we have a flag down on the point after try.
Offside. We're not.
So that penalty will be declined. The try is good. And the Tulane lead has been cut to 10. So Clayton Tune with his first rushing touchdown of the season.
ESPN College Football, presented by Capital One, is brought to you by Coca-Cola. Together tastes better.
This Jalen McCleskey 53-yard catch and run with 3 seconds to go capped a wild Thursday night win by Tulane last year over Houston after the Green Wave faked a kneel down. Amari Jones, you saw, run for 18 yards to set up what turned out to be the game winner. This is the third straight year that these two teams have met in prime time on Thursday night. Tulane last year, they were down 21 at one point and came back to stun the Cougars 38-31. And they've got a 10-point lead tonight, 21 points off turnovers, as it will now come out to the 25-yard line. Now let's take you from plan to play. Brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. And Mike, that last touchdown drive, very efficient for Houston.
And all set up by making easy plays. You see the screen here to start things off. Great job by the offensive line creating throwing lanes for Clayton Tune here in the easy pitch and catch. But his deep ball, giving his receivers a chance to go up and make a play before they go over the top with a little help from his friends to put it in and cross the goal line.
Somewhere in that mosh pit, Clayton Tune was deemed to have broken the plane. So now how will the true freshman Michael Pratt respond? Play action on first down. Under pressure, he'll eat the football and take a sack. Could have thrown it away, held onto it just long enough to give David Anini a chance to bring him down.
And watch the change of direction here by Anini. 12 puts a foot in the ground, gets back upfield. And this is a true freshman mistake right here. You've got to get that ball thrown away. You are not outrunning these guys at the Division I level in that spot. Get the ball out, live to play another day. Don't put your team in a disadvantaged situation early in the down.
Second down and 21, and conservative for only a yard. So it will be third down and a mile as Cameron Carroll barely got back across the line of scrimmage.
And I understand you're worried about your quarterback after taking that sack there, but a 2nd and 21 run never makes a ton of sense to me here. You're not backed up enough to where you've got to worry about your punter on the shadow of the goal line. Why not take a shot there? And instead now, 3rd and a country mile, get ready for a screen or another run.
And again, they'll just play to punt, as Carroll will pick up 6, maybe 7 yards. But it will be a 3 and out for Tulane, set up on first down by the Anini sack.
And that all goes back to just the understanding that comes with time under task as the starter to get rid of that ball and have it be 2nd and 10 instead of 2nd and 21 to start this drive off.
Marcus Drones driven all the way back inside his own 20-yard line by a bomb of a punt from Ryan Wright. It is returnable, though, as he gets out to about the 32-yard line before he is brought down. Well, you can kick off Week 5 Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. The Countdown crew will have all the early breaking stories, and who knows what might happen between now and kickoff on Sunday. Our Monday Night Football matchup as well. The Chargers taking on the Saints. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. After a 63-yard punt. And of course, that's not the only Monday night game again this week, as Denver, New England has been moved to Monday night also. The Titans-Bills game on Sunday, postponed now to Tuesday. There's a keeper for Clayton Tune. And he's brought down right at the line of scrimmage by Chase Kirshen. And the Bills and Kansas City Chiefs. Now, they were scheduled to play next Thursday night, 1 week from tonight. You can't play Tuesday and then Thursday. So with the Titans-Bills game being delayed until Tuesday, Bills-Chiefs moves to next Sunday, all due to trying to play football in the midst of a coronavirus pandemic. Toon, he's going to take a shot. Just barely missing Jeremy Singleton. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Houston trying to take advantage of any one-on-one opportunity they've got. We saw Bradley with the big catch before. Certainly we expected out of Stevenson here. Just overthrowing and getting used to that timing, all the things that are going to come as they get games under their belt. But right now, again, week 1 of actually being on the field in game action for the Cougs here. Maybe time for another screen like we saw that jump-started that last drive.
Seam shot is there for Speedy Stevenson. And a flag comes in on 3rd down.
And they might be taking a look at targeting on that one. You saw the safety coming in, lowering his head as Stevenson was going to the ground.
Stevenson held on to the football.
Targeting.
And there is the targeting
31.
call.
The previous play.
So if this is confirmed by replay, and again, it must be confirmed by the replay booth, Larry Brooks, who started at strong safety, would be lost for the night.
You're seeing crown of the helmet, defenseless player. Have a feeling this could not go Tulane's way.
Welcome back, and it looks like a targeting call is going to be reversed by replay in favor of Larry Brooks of Tulane. Forcible hit by the crown of the helmet would result in a targeting ejection. That certainly looks forcible by the crown of the helmet to us, but not to the replay booth.
You know what? Looking at it again, maybe you can argue it wasn't violent. We know that's supposed to be a forcible contact, an attack, a launch with the crown of the helmet there, and maybe they look at that and say, not violent enough in that situation. I never want to see someone thrown out of the game. I understand what we're trying to eliminate, but that one there seemed a little less forceful than what they're trying to really iron out.
Yeah, to me, the goal of the rule is to get players to not do that. And so hopefully Larry Brooks realizes he may have gotten the benefit of the doubt from replay here, but don't do that again. Another deep shot from Clayton Toon. One-on-one, knocked away. Jalen Monroe, terrific coverage on Nathaniel Dell. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Monroe step for step with him the entire way next to Dell, tracking it with his eyes. And we've seen so many Tulane defenders turned around staring at the chest of the wide receiver. Monroe says, no, I'll get my eyes back on the ball and I'll play this right with you.
Kyle Porter with a cutback. 1st down. Picks up 12.
And this is the counter action Houston loves to run. Get big 64 Dennis Bardwell out there moving in space, coming across the line from that right tackle spot. Running back makes the great decision to let him go by and take up some space.
Porter again. Into the secondary again. He's got 8 more yards. You know what? The law of unintended consequences. Last year, Houston, De'Ara King decides to redshirt, then transfer, and a whole host of players redshirt along with him. But that meant that a lot of players that might not have gotten a significant amount of playing experience last year did. Kyle Porter, part of a group that's 70% of the rushing yards from last season to this season that returns for Houston. And now some players that wouldn't be all that experienced this year look pretty comfortable out there now that this offense getting into a groove. Chandler Smith spun down right at the 1st down line to gain by Chase Kirshen. It'll be 3rd down and a half yard.
And they have gone to the same counter play each of the last 3 plays. They've got 3rd and less than 1 right now. This is begging for Dana Holgorsen to go over the top here, understanding he'll have a great chance at a 4th down look right now. This is a great opportunity to take a calculated risk, knowing you've been beating the defense up, although this heavy formation may indicate otherwise.
Up, they're 2 for 5 on 3rd down. And that extra push looks like they will now be 3 for 6 on 3rd down.
Big bodies in front, big bodies in back. A quarterback can't ever feel safer than in that formation.
Christian Trahan, a 245-pound tight end, gave the shove that Tune needed. And it's a 3rd down conversion to keep the drive alive. 9th play of this drive. 4-man rush. Tune towards the end zone. Looking for Keith Corbin, but he was bracketed.
All eyes on Corbin there. And we know right now no Stevenson on the field. Remember, though, the targeting call was reversed. He was in the tent earlier. One of their best players not on the field.
They'll run it with Mulbacar, and he won't go anywhere. Brought down right at the line of scrimmage. It will be 3rd down and 10. There's Marvin Moody in on another tackle.
And in defending this run game, Marvin Moody's been right up at the line of scrimmage. Tulane has put 5 guys up near the line of scrimmage, trying to get an athletic mismatch on the center, Jack Freeman, for Houston, getting into the backfield, disrupting the run.
Tune out of the pocket. Flag down. He's got a wide open man in the end zone. It's Keandre Street. That's a touchdown if the play stands.
Looking like a lot of hands up around the line of scrimmage. This one may be coming back due to holding after what looked like a great pickup initially by a Houston offense that's seen a similar pressure a handful of times already. We'll wait and see some comms issues for the referee crew tonight, it appears.
Holding. 30. Defense. That penalty decline. The result of the play is a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 76. That's his first. The penalty enforced on the kickoff.
So it turns out to be a defensive hold and an easy pitch and catch touchdown. Tune to Keandre Street.
And we've seen that pressure before. 5 up on the line, you drop off one of the ends, and the line picks it up, gives Tune time to get back, survey, roll out a little bit, and find his receiver sitting wide open in the end zone.
Dalton Witherspoon makes it a 3-point game with a flag down. Looked like it may have been a neutral zone infraction for Tulane. It was offsides on the green wave.
Outside. Ray. The clock.
So it's 24-21 as Houston now down by 3.
And watch right in the middle here, the trap by the center, Jack Freeman, as he gets started on this play. Got a linebacker mugged up again in his face, gets him down on the ground and clogs it up. So now that secondary blitzer runs right into his buddy there on the ground, gives Clayton Tune enough time to roll out to the side That's a great job there. We said the defense was trying to take advantage of the athletic mismatch for Marvin Moody, their linebacker in that situation. Center makes him pay with power. Easy 6.
That might have been a good illustration of what we talked about the fear would be for Tulane and their defense in this game. They benefited by bringing blitzers early, got a pick 6, knocked the ball out, and got a fumble recovery for a touchdown, but kind of live by the sword, die by the sword, right? If you bring blitzers and you don't get there, you're trying to cover some really speedy receivers with some maybe less than athletic players in the back end of your defense.
It is, and even in a zone blitz situation like you got there, once Houston started to stop these, they were free hitters for Tulane before. And the worst thing is an offensive lineman, you know, if they get home with a pressure early on, you're going to see plenty of it. They shut one of their key ones down there. Now Tulane's got to go back in the defensive playbook, back down the call card and find what's next.
You'd have to kick off at the 20-yard line, though, so that sets up a return opportunity for Hutterson and pretty good field position for Tulane. Let's check in with Kevin Connors.
And Bob, coming up on the Dr. Pepper halftime report, we've got some big COVID-related news out of the Big 12 to share with you. Jesse Palmer, Joey Galloway will be here to share their impressions on the first half, and it's college football pick'em for the first time this season. The guys will debate who's going to win a Miami-Clemson showdown, all coming up when you join us at the half. Bob?
Well, so much about this season is abnormal, but the more games we get back and the bigger the games become, the more normal it feels as this play blown dead at the line of scrimmage. And before too long, we'll have Big Ten football back. Not long after that, Pac-12 football back.
False start. Remaining, the offense. Do not get set with a snap. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Bob Wischusen here with Mike Golick Jr., Chris Budden with us as well. The 4th game of this season for Tulane, but with 5 cancellations, it's the first game for the Cougars, and they looked rusty early. 3 first-quarter giveaways, 2 defensive touchdowns scored by Tulane, and yet the Cougars' offense has now made this a 3-point game, and now their defense starts humming. Peyton Turner with a tackle behind the line.
We've seen Peyton Turner getting upfield quickly, stopped a jet sweep earlier, and this time slow developing counterplay. You've got both the guard and tackle pulling on the backside, trying to create a seam, and he gets upfield and says, now I'm going to put a stop to all that. And now you're back in, again, disadvantaged situation. Last drive, it was taking an ill-advised sack. This drive, it was the penalty to start things off, getting in the hole early for this Tulane offense.
Right up the middle goes Cameron Carroll. It'll be 3rd down and long. I would think if you're Houston, you'd probably want to call a timeout here. Tulane facing 3rd down and about 11. And if I were the Green Wave, I'd take as much time off the clock as I could, anticipating I'll probably have to punt. And Houston still with 2 timeouts. They're allowing the clock to run.
2 timeouts, you think you'd get the ball back with about 2 minutes left, be able to work the length of the field with those. That's a situation they've been drilling in this extended training camp for 53 days.
3rd down and 11. Pratt to throw, check that quarterback run, and he only picks up a yard or 2. And now will Houston call a timeout? Looks like Dana Holgorsen may do just that. Yes, they will call a timeout on defense, try and preserve some time for their offense.
And you see a great job, some defenders, multiple defenders coming on that pressure on the outside. The feet get caught up a little bit, but Javarius Owens able to recover, get back inside, get to the quarterback, and put a healthy hit on. The last couple of drives, this Houston defense has made the true freshman feel that physical presence, starting to make him think a little bit.
Let's take a look at this week's AP rankings brought to you by Goodyear, and it's good to see those Big Ten teams included in the AP Top 10 again. Of course, the big one, number 1 against number 7, 7:30 on ABC Saturday night. Clemson takes on Miami. Also a night game, Alabama at Ole Miss on ESPN on Saturday night. So a couple of good ones. Ryan Wright, a 63-yarder on his last attempt. And this one, again, a good deep kick. Breaking tackles, though, Marcus Jones. And he's out to the 30-yard line before he's driven out of bounds. So back to the offense for Clayton Tune. We saw the bad early. We've seen the good of late.
Issues with protection up front led to him just trying to do a little bit too much going down there in the pocket. But since Houston's been able to do a better job keeping their quarterback clean and upright, they've had a lot more opportunities like this, easy shots at the end zone. Not afraid to take the looks one-on-one downfield. You see the extra time here again. And we've seen they have a lot of confidence. They brought back their top 4 receivers from last season. And they saw what the other side of this looked like. Last year, they were up 21 points. Gave up that recovery to Tulane. They came all the way rushing back for a win. So they've seen, this is the American. Anyone who watched that Memphis SMU game last weekend knows all about how quickly things can turn and how much offense is ready to fire away in this conference.
Touchdowns on their last 2 possessions, double-digit touchdown drives. And Tulane, now on the flip side, they've gone 3 and out. Their last 2 possessions in a row. And Houston has a chance to possibly lead at halftime. We'll see what happens on this drive. And obviously with an offense that goes at their tempo, 2 minutes and 16 seconds, end of timeout, that's all the time in the world. Garrison Vaughn having to be helped off the field.
Certainly see him not putting a ton of weight being helped off there. And I know we've said it a number of times, but game 1, you certainly hope it's something he can recover from. No worse feeling as a teammate looking at a guy who you've gone through all of this. You've dealt with all the adversity of not knowing when and if your season was going to start, to try and get out here for that first game and see anybody go down. We've already seen Stevenson in the injury tent before, so you hope these guys able to recover. As unfortunately he's getting into the cart, which is a very unfortunate sign here.
You go through a 53-day training camp to finally get a chance to play. And now
the worst part, Bob, they blow the whistle and they play the next snap. Yep. It is one of the cruelest parts of this game. Everyone has seen and lived through it who's put on a set of pads and helmets, and it never gets any easier to try and get through.
Clayton Tune, his 10th career start, back to work, and a jet sweep end around. Stevenson stays in bounds. Speedy Stevenson turning on the Jets. A well-designed play for the Cougars and a first down.
And watch the big fella get loose in the open field here. Jack Freeman, the center, working all the way out to the perimeter, getting a pancake on a defensive back. And it looks like it was too good.
It looks like a flag down.
Repeat first down.
And that is the difficulty when you get into space on those shots. That's why, quite frankly, getting out into these screens, a lot of times, that's why they'll coach you as an offensive lineman to throw, to go for the cut block in space, because trying to get hands on some of these smaller athletes is so difficult, and stay with them. If you throw right there, you potentially take out both guys in that spot, and instead you get the takedown. 2 points for that on the wrestling mat, none here on the football field.
It's a spot foul, so it sets up an unusual first down and 12 as they lose a couple of yards with the penalty. Tune, he'll go down, sacked, a 2-yard loss. Now it will be second down and 14 for Houston. Now Tulane also has their timeouts, so we'll see if the Green Wave spend one, probably based on the outcome of this play.
And you'd assume Houston going back to the air here, so if you get an incompletion, you get a natural clock stoppage, and all of a sudden you're right back in good shape with Houston backed up.
Tune will throw on second and 14. Wants to set up a screen. That's incomplete. So that stops the clock for the Green Wave and also creates third down and 14.
And we mentioned how often you drill the 2-minute drill going through the course of training camp. That's something coaches will set this amount of time on the clock. You've got 2 timeouts, this length of the field to go, and you work through. But it's so different, again, getting back into the flow of a real game, seeing the penalties called much more diligently, and now finding yourself in this situation where you're going to try and take some time off the clock and punt.
Low throw, incomplete. Well, McGowan couldn't scoop it up. So that preserves both Tulane timeouts with 1:16 to go.
And again, a little baffled. You're well short of the sticks, and we see the ball low. No contest there on the catch. But the decision to call a play that lands you well short of the sticks, knowing you're going to stop the clock if that happens, and now put them in a situation where you're right. Plenty of time and 2 timeouts in your pocket. You've got a chance to go to work.
On 3rd and 14, if you're going to throw a 5-yard out, why not just run the ball and force the opposition to at least use one of their timeouts? And this punt will take a Houston roll. Down inside the 20-yard line to the 17. Well, this area, and certainly the entire Gulf Coast, is keeping their eye on the approaching hurricane. And of course, this is an area that has been soaked this season and windblown as well by tropical system after tropical system. And so we are all keeping our fingers crossed and saying our prayers that this one does less damage than they anticipate. But heard Chris Budden earlier talk about the fact that Tulane does have some contingency travel plans and even a hotel set up back in New Orleans should there be any shift in the track of the storm and they have any difficulty in getting the team back into their dorms on campus. So Tulane back to work, 1:05 to go, and they've got 2 timeouts. They'll start on the ground, and it will start with a tackle for loss. Cameron Carroll brought down well behind the line of scrimmage. Logan Hall makes the stop, helped out by DeAnthony Jones.
And not a lot of sense of urgency here. They're content to let this one get to the halftime locker room without putting their true freshman quarterback in too much of harm's way, a chance to risk anything like a turnover down here.
Carroll again. Brought down behind the line again and goes out of bounds. Well, this makes things interesting. 20 seconds on the clock. It's now 3rd down. That stops the clock for the Cougars, and Houston still has a timeout.
A lot of very poor situational awareness right now on both sides, something going into the halftime locker room for these teams you're going to address. And for Tulane, this is game 4 of your season, so these are the mistakes you can't see happening. That wasn't a true freshman that just ran out of bounds.
Dana Holgorsen can now turn his defense loose and use their final timeout as Carroll stays inbounds this time, but now undoubtedly the Cougars will call timeout and force Tulane to punt. And who knows? Special teams in college football. You watch enough of these games, you realize anything can happen on special teams in college football.
Especially with the guys that Houston has going back there to return. Marcus Jones, who spent a couple of years as a starter at Troy, was an All-American punt returner there. He's a guy that knows what to do with the ball in his hands in these situations.
I talked to a coach one time who was in the NFL, went back to college football as an offensive coordinator. And I knew him, and I saw him at a training facility. And I said, wow, you were in the NFL, now back in college. What's the biggest difference? The quarterbacks, the receivers, what? He said, oh, no, don't talk to me. Go talk to our special teams coach. I said, really? He said, any time in college football that the ball clears the line of scrimmage on special teams, usually you're happy. In the NFL, every punter's got a nuclear leg. They can all directional kick to the 10-yard line. Every 50-yard field goal, it seems like it's good. Special teams can be an adventure. And Houston just about got there, but Ryan Wright got it away. And this will roll with 5 seconds to go in the half to midfield. Well, at least a chance for Houston to maybe throw the ball in the end zone.
And again, the coaching point right there is you're going through the block point, 2 hands and down at the punter's leg. Give yourself a better shot to erase that edge. Bob, I've never been on a punt rush team, but I've been sitting as an offensive lineman in enough special teams meetings to pick up some of the ancillary knowledge.
You were never part of punt rush?
I know it seems shocking. I was
amazing.
one of the unfortunate souls, part of that meat shield back wall right there. Might go ahead there and shorten your neck.
I'm just amazed
6 plays a game.
that no coach looked to use your athleticism on punt block. That's just a complete misuse of your talent. Well, Clayton Tune, I'm going to run a little hitch to Jeremy Singleton. He's going to get what he can with 1 second to go on the clock. I can't imagine that's going to put them in any reasonable field goal range, but that will draw Clayton Tune just a little bit closer to see if he can reach the end zone with one last snap, as now they will set up for the Big Ben play and put 3 receivers up to the top of your screen.
So you see the jump ball team coming out there with Keandre Street, all 6'3" of him, that third man in.
Tune extending, allowing those receivers to get downfield, and now puts one short of the end zone, and it's an easy interception for Macon Clark. His second interception of the half. You remember he opened the scoring with a pick 6. And Tulane will start the third quarter with the football and a 3-point lead. Time to head to the studio, the halftime report. Alongside Joey Galloway and Jesse Palmer, here's Kevin Collins. Welcome back to Thursday Night College Football presented by Capital One. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. It was quite a wait for the Cougars. Their first 5 games canceled. Finally, they opened their season tonight. Sloppy at the start. They turned it over 3 times in the first quarter. Tulane took advantage. It's a 3-point lead for the Green Wave as we're set for the start of the third quarter. Bob Wischusen, Mike Golick Jr., Chris Budden on hand in Houston. You could see the rust early on for Dana Holgerson's team.
And you could see the struggle. Chris mentioned it, the energy on the sideline, all the factors that go into game day in 2020 that Houston was seeing for the first time, but they're able to settle in, find themselves, and they're down 3, but it feels like the momentum has really gone back in their favor.
How much pressure on the Tulane offense in the second half? They were really carried by the defense in the first half. You would think if Houston plays clean, Tulane's going to have to generate some offense to hold this lead.
And they're going to have to, on early downs, take the ball out of Michael Pratt's hands right now. The last couple of drives, we've seen them set back early. A bad sack taken by the true freshman. A false start penalty as the offense not ready to go on that drive. Put them at a disadvantage right away that they're not ready and mature enough to climb out of right now with him at the helm.
Tulane will start the third quarter with the ball. We'll see if their offense is able to change some momentum that seemed to go the way of the Cougars before the end of the first half. As we take a look at tonight's game flow, brought to you by Progressive, and all the flow courtesy of the Tulane defense early.
A lot of free hits, and this was a Houston team knocking off every bit of that rust, turning guys loose. Namely Kevin Henry, number 33 for Tulane, and giving up not just bad plays, but disaster plays that led to defensive scores. But easy completions, getting the ball down to Mulbacar on the screen, and then protection starting to improve. You see 75 Jack Freeman in the center of that line. Hold up, give your quarterback time, and you've got athletes like Keandre Street on the outside that are going to get open against the secondary when given the chance.
So the true freshman Michael Pratt to work from his own 25-yard line. End around, Amari Jones gets a couple of blocks and picks up about 8 yards. How about the comfort level of a true freshman quarterback that, by the way, was homeschooled until he was in 9th grade? Michael Pratt didn't really even start playing football until he was a freshman in high school, and then ends up at Deerfield Beach High School in a team that sent 16 players to Power 5 schools as he hands one off to Cameron Carroll. So he did a lot of winning once he finally became a true high school football player, but this is his first career start.
And they said the pedigree of going to a high school like Deerfield is why he came in with a lot of confidence early on, and why they didn't see a lot of the normal things that come with a true freshman in practice, and certainly when he was part of that great comeback they mounted against Southern Miss.
Now we have an injured Green Wave player. Looks Looks like it might be Trey Tuggle. We'll check in and see, and let's head to Chris Budden.
We mentioned all the stars that came out of Deerfield Beach High School, and Pratt has a tattoo in honor of one of those. It was Bryce Gowdy, a wide receiver at Deerfield Beach High School, wore the number 7. And you can see on his arm has "Believe" and the number 7 tattooed on there. Gowdy took his own life in December. He had committed to play at Georgia Tech. That entire 2019 class that played at Deerfield Beach has his memory all over their social media, playing for number 7 this year.
And just an impossibly sad situation for everyone involved there. The "Believe" tattoo that you see right there on Pratt. And it's a reminder for everyone, mental health has become so much more of a conversation around athletics at every level. But in college, we've seen Helinski's hope in honor of the late Tyler Helinski being a part and being implemented in a lot of teams this past weekend as they look to shine a light on that, use that platform, as Joey Claybrook being helped off the field right there, to try and make sure that players understand just because you play a warrior sport doesn't mean you have to be quiet when things are wrong, and that you can reach out and ask for help. And to see teams with this platform playing this sport, using this opportunity to shine a light on that, and to see some of his teammates that are all making sure people remember their brother Bryce Gowdy. I think it's an incredible time for athletes, especially college athletes, to use their voices around causes like this.
Dak Prescott came out recently and was honest with family tragedy, the impact that it had on him. You're the star quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Who should be happier than the star quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys? And he came out and admitted, hey, I'm a human being. I have the weight of the world at times coming down on my shoulders, family tragedy, and he was very honest about his feelings as well.
Athletes have shown time and time again they're not immune to the terrible things that can come over the course of life, and them using that platform shows someone else that might be hurting and afraid to speak out that they're not alone, and that there are other people trying to work through some of the same problems.
Big play here for Pratt, 3rd down and 12. He's going to lob one down the sideline. Will he get the benefit of a flag? Fat Watts, the intended receiver, stumbled in front of Marcus Jones. Pressure put on Pratt by Peyton Turner. And it looks like no flag out.
And you see here, feet just getting tangled up at the top of the route here. A good no call as both of those ankles. But on the other side, Pratt taking a shot low. And that was Peyton Turner being blocked into him low, so not much he can do in that situation. But
and a muffed punt. Loose inside the 25-yard line. Does Tulane have the recovery? It looks like they may. And they do. Players have to be separated after the whistle blows, but it looked like one of the officials stepped in and signaled green wave football.
Marcus Jones, who we mentioned, an experienced and potent punt returner, just overshoots it a bit. You see him coming in here and then having to back up at that last second. Just lost it a little bit, tracking a lot of bodies around him. And now this is how Tulane got in this game, got a lead to begin with. Houston turning it over yet again, setting them up with great field position.
Now here is the question, and I think the officials are taking a look at just this. Ryan Wright happy because that punt was muffed. However, Jatavian Tolles, a receiver, may have been out of bounds and jumped back in. I'm not sure he reestablished inbounds before he recovered the ball. We can't hear the referee's microphone. Replay will certainly take a look. Was Jatavian Tolles out of bounds?
So we'll see right here, circled at the bottom of the screen, going towards the sideline. And he does. He stepped out of bounds, and he wasn't pushed out of bounds. And it doesn't seem like he had time to maybe reestablish right there. Maybe they're saying because he dove back in, but he definitely went out of bounds, was not pushed out of bounds by anybody else, and didn't have time to get reset before he touched it. Let's take a look again.
The previous play is under further
So the replay booth is indeed going to take a closer look.
And you can't be the first one to touch it again after that.
And see if this should indeed be a huge break for Houston. Will they get the football back? We'll find out when we return. Ball here on ESPN. Bob Wischusen and Mike Golick Jr. and Chris Budden. And that right foot stepping out of bounds by Jatavian Tolles, unfortunately for Tulane, costs them a takeaway. As we pointed out, once you are out of bounds, you have to re-establish back in bounds before you can recover that loose ball. That's a 5-yard penalty. And so Dana Holgorsen has opted to, not surprisingly, have Tulane back up 5 yards and kick the ball away again.
One of the most dangerous plays in sports is the second round at a punt like this, because now your punt team just ran down there to cover. They're a little bit worn out, and your punt returner's got a fresh look at this with even more space. The potential swing right here is just incredible, coming off a play that could have been a very easy Tulane turnover. Coming off that muff punt return, now could end up being a big play going the other way from, I'd imagine, a very motivated Marcus Jones back there, eager to erase the memory of that mistake.
So it looks like we've got the ball now spotted correctly. The foul has been applied. There's a lot at the end of this play that the officials now have to re-rack. You have to make sure the clock's okay. You have to make sure that the original line of scrimmage is redetermined. Then you have to back the ball up 5 yards. There's a lot to unpack here after what looked initially to be a Tulane takeaway. And now we're set. Ryan Wright will kick it again to Marcus Jones. This one takes a hop, and a dangerous play by Jones, but boy, does it pay off. He saves his team a boatload of field position, a return out to the 43-yard line. Risky decision by Marcus Jones, but a brave one, and it pays off.
And if it had been anyone else other than a veteran guy, maybe it would have taken him out of it. He gets a great chance.
Let's check in with Chris Budden.
Well, coming out of half, Dana Holgorsen told me that those mistakes, turnovers early in the first, were attributed to just maybe too many nerves, over-amped up. He said it's no one's fault. That's just what happens when you haven't had any game action. He did say, I think we got all those out of the system. He said, I thought my offense played great despite the fact that we spotted Tulane 17 points. It is interesting watching, though, trying to do still some of the small things right when you're not used to playing a game. The team was walking out of the tunnel, coming out here out of half, and the strength and conditioning coach had to go in and say, you guys should be sprinting out here. I want to see some energy. So again, getting used to very kind of the routine of doing things on a game day.
And creating your own energy. I'm wondering, Mike, when you were a player, how many games did it take you to work your way into a season where you felt like you were in a groove, like playing a game was what you were supposed to be doing and the rust was shaken off?
It really was that week 1 to week 2 bump where you just remember how to prepare going into a game week. You'll do a lot of scrimmage environments where you'll prepare in the lead up like it's a game day. You'll simulate that as best you can, but once you've gone through it that first real time, gotten on that team bus and gone where you need to go, everything starts to slow down, even for the vets.
Nothing there on first down.
Great play by 48, DeAndre Williams, the defensive tackle, who lost a shoe in the process, but played back across the face and going to make the smart move, go down there, stop play for his team.
A flat tire, but a tackle for loss all the same. So it's 2nd down and 11.
And he's a guy that Jack Curtis, their D coordinator, said one of the unsung heroes, going to make a lot of plays that won't necessarily show up or flash like a sack or a big-time tackle for loss.
Leighton Toon, little pick play out on the edge, frees up Keith Corbin, and he's got the first down and more. 16-yard gain to Corbin.
And a great job getting the pick pick from the outside by Trevon Bradley coming in here and getting just enough. The offense calls it a rub. The defense calls it a pick. That time, perfectly executed to get just enough to slow him down.
Draw play. Kyle Porter, 2 yards.
Dorian Williams been incredibly active near the line of scrimmage. We saw him being the spy on Clayton Tune earlier, mirroring a lot of these running backs. Made a lot of plays for the Angry Wave.
He led the Green Wave with 10 tackles last week. 4-man rush on 2nd down and 8. Tune backpedaling. Out of the pocket. Going to tuck it under and run. Avoids the hit of Dorian Williams. And he steps out of bounds 3 yards shy of a first down. So it will set up a Houston 3rd down and 3.
We've seen the screen game be effective a few times. Just a great area of the field to try and find one. You've been running a lot of those counter runs. They've got great schemes built off of some of their run actions that can catch a defense off guard if they're not ready and bursting upfield.
Counter handoff, and Porter. 2nd effort, he's got the first down.
And this is one of the big differences. Again, Dana Holgorsen and his blend of the air raid want to get downhill, want to go at the heart of a defense. He knows he used to have to beg Mike Leach to call run plays during the course of a game, and he still wouldn't. Now, Dana gets to turn these guys loose downhill in the middle of the defense and try and get Tulane to commit an extra defender into the box, open up some of those one-on-one matchups for his wideouts.
This will be a false start.
And you see Keenan Murphy, the left guard right here, number 77, leaning hard to the right side of the field as they're getting ready to run this counter play. You're going to watch him get ready to pull. He's falling back out of that stance. The D-line is watching the weight in his hands. I am the son of a defensive lineman, and I know they spent a lot of time looking at how much weight is going forward or backward to see if they can get any sort of tip like that. He's got to be careful.
4-man rush. Tune, 6-yard gain. Trevon Bradley.
And you know
the penalty yardage back plus 1 more, so it will be 2nd down and 9.
And Bob, that's one of those small things, but especially in an offense that loves to major in that counter play as often as Houston does, that you've got to really coach up. And that's something when you're in film on Monday, the coach is going to harp on. Our stance has to look the same each and every time we go up to the line of scrimmage.
Right up the middle, spinning out of traffic is Kyle Porter, close to a first down. Good feet from Kyle Porter, kept the play alive.
And really nothing here, everything bottled up inside. He just keeps the legs churned and spins and makes a great play. This is a guy who we talked to Shannon Dawson, their offensive coordinator, said really has the emotional pulse of the team. So as they're looking for energy, he can be one of those guys that understands and leads in critical moments.
3rd down and 1. Porter again. And it looks like forward progress will give him the first down. Kyle Porter was the leading rusher last season, started 9 games and played 11 overall and ran for just over 600 yards. And he and Mulbacar, they form a pretty good 1-2 physical punch for a team that's known as a wide open spread offense.
They had 5 different players with a 100-yard rushing game over the course of last season. They want to get after you on the ground.
Tune finds a crosser, Jeremy Singleton, and he stays in bounds inside the 5. 1st and goal at the 4 for the Cougars.
We mentioned all the differences in Dana's air raid. Here's one of the similarities. You see that mesh, these 2 routes that are going to cross right in the middle of your screen. get the eyes confused on the defense, slow their feet down a little bit, and give an athlete like Singleton room in space to make a play with the ball in his hands after the catch.
This is a system that has a tendency to really make a quarterback look good, still running simple plays, doesn't it?
It does, and they said, and they pointed this out, because De'Aaron King's a great athlete, but Clayton Tune's a guy more in the likeness and the mold of guys they've had success with in this offense in the past.
Oh, Bakar makes it look easy, walks into the end zone, and the Cougars have a touchdown, and they've got the lead.
Great job by the right guard, number 52, Braylon Jones, just keeping his knees in the defender. He keeps working. He has no time to reach off and make a play. And Carr able to find an easy lane to move up in.
Mo Bakar, a refugee from the Civil War in Liberia. Eventually, he and his family made it to the United States. He became a U.S. citizen at age 5. And now he's scoring touchdowns for the Cougars. They've got the lead.
Something to believe. ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
Cougars have their first lead of the season, and it was a long wait to get here, with coronavirus postponing their first 5 games. Rice went away, Washington State went away, Memphis, Baylor, and North Texas all followed. It finally took them until tonight, Thursday Night Football, the 8th of October, the 3rd consecutive season they play a conference rival in Tulane. On Thursday Night Football, Bob Wischusen, Mike Golick Jr., and Chris Budden bringing you ESPN College Football Prime Time. And Dana Holgerson's team, after a 53-day training camp and 5 cancellations and a sloppy half, finally here midway through the 3rd quarter, they have their first lead of the season.
They seem to have really calmed down and are starting to find themselves, avoiding the major blow on the muffed punt and climbing back to take the lead in this football game.
And Amari Jones will watch this one sail through the back of the end zone, Chris.
Yeah, Bob, that Baylor cancellation was particularly frustrating for this Houston team because it happened 48 hours before kickoff was scheduled, and some of the players found out via Twitter. Holgerson called the team together, talked to them through it, and he said, listen, guys, we're pissed. I had some guys crying. I told them we're not going to practice this afternoon, but the weight room's open. So if you want to go take out your frustrations there, half the team did, got in a good sweat. Holgerson, meanwhile, went back home, sat by his pool, and partook in a few beverages.
I know how he feels.
I can say, haven't we all been there? Maybe not on the receiving end of news quite like this, but
at my house we call that Wednesday.
You're saying we wouldn't have found you in the weight room, Bob.
A penalty right out of the change of possession. And how about Tulane now? They've got a true freshman quarterback making his first ever start. They scored 3 touchdowns in the first half off turnovers, 2 directly scored by their defense. And now they've lost the lead. How do they respond?
By eliminating pre-snap penalties like this, and this is managing the offense for a true freshman. Something as simple as the cadence is so different from quarterback to quarterback. They've got to steady the ship.
Screen pass. Can they block it up? Barely getting back to the line of scrimmage is Stephon Hutterson, and it looks like he lost a yard. It'll be second down. Now check that. Looks like he probably picked up 3.5 or 4, so make it second down and 11.
Got back most of that penalty yardage. And these backs as receivers out of the backfield, remember, we saw plenty of this from Amari Jones, but Hutterson more than capable in his own right.
Hutterson empties the backfield. Deep ball thrown by Pratt. Right down the chimney. And that is good for a first down to Deuce Watts.
And out in front of him, stacks the defensive back the entire way. And then what great concentration. You saw the arm of Damarian Williams, who's still a bit shaken up after the play, right in there on the ball. Still manages to hold through and maintain possession.
And his full weight, it seemed like, came down right on the inside of that right leg of Williams. And he was shaken up. A terrific throw, though, by Michael Pratt. And Deuce Watts made an over-the-shoulder catch. It's a gain of 42 yards and exactly the kind of explosive play that Tulane needed.
And you make life so easy on your quarterback as a receiver when you get this. You hear this all the time. Stack the defensive back. You get out in front of him. You see Pratt drop back here with pressure bearing down. But his receiver is so far out in front, he can put it out in front of him. He can run underneath it. It makes life so easy when you're not having to battle there, and he can go right over the top. An easy spot and an easy target for the quarterback to throw with. Again, pressure bearing down.
So Demarion Williams, second on the team in tackles last season, and also a couple of interceptions. So that's a very important starting cornerback that's on the bench, at least right now. But good to see him able to walk it off and get to the sideline. So hopefully he'll be able to get back in the game. Play action for Pratt on first down. Right up the seam, and it would have been a walk-in touchdown for Tyrick James if he could have held on.
And you see, this is a little air raid in its own right. That tight end slip out of the backfield that we see a coach like Lincoln Riley run so much of at Oklahoma there, taking advantage of him being in more of a blocking position, working his way through that trash with nothing but daylight in front of him.
There was no one between Tyrick James and the end zone. Instead, it's second down and 10. Four-man rush. Pitch and catch, breaking tackles, and getting loose Amari Jones. He's got a first down, a gain of 12.
And these are good rhythm plays for a young quarterback. They're getting back up to the line now, doing some of the things they had success with early. And more importantly, being able to keep personnel on the field, try and wear down this defense.
Down the sideline again goes Pratt. Jump ball, broken up. Flag out. Amari Jones, again the intended receiver. Was he interfered with by Grant Stewart?
Again, another situation where the defender's got his back turned, he's working into the receiver, and we saw plenty of celebrating from Grant Stewart there, the converted nickelback, but maybe a bit premature. Again, an ideal situation, one they've been taking advantage of with Pratt all night.
Pass interference. 0 on the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Again, he's a converted nickel, so he's no stranger to trying to cover these bodies even with a few extra pounds. But it becomes the same problem you run into is if you're not turning, if you're face guarding and not facing the ball, all of a sudden the quarterback can just underthrow that, the receiver works back in, and you've got an easy spot of yellow for the offense. And now you can get back to doing what you want to do, hand it off down here, get some of these guards out on the move, and create some seams.
Quarterback keeper on first and goal. A yard for Pratt.
And there's a front side guard pull they love to run down in this area, Bob, that we haven't seen yet tonight. Creates great open looks if you've got a tight end in line, but they seem content to spread it out here. Try and see if they can get some athletes in space. See if they'll go back to Tyrick James, number 80, who was open for an easy one before.
Back right corner of the end zone, looking for the football is Jaquan Jackson, and he's got it for the touchdown. So Michael Pratt and Tulane answer right back, and the Green Waves retake the lead.
And this just spotting a great matchup. Jaquan Jackson matched up with a safety, Javarius Owens, and fits it right in. Let's see if he maintained possession going to the ground.
And it looks like he's got that football firmly wrapped up.
And as long as it stayed on top of his body here, we see him turn over there for a second, but on top of his chest, good to go.
How about that response by the Green Wave to retake the lead by 3? Not too bad for a freshman quarterback. Well, wherever the students are, the Taco Bell Live Moss student section lives. Visit livemossstudentsection.com to learn more. As the student sections, well, one of the things that makes college football the absolute best. And they are obviously not going to be what we have always known them to be in the past, and certainly hopefully will have again in the future. But doesn't mean we don't recognize some of these great student sections doing the best they can to make some noise during college football in the age of coronavirus. Stevenson on the return. Getting loose. Breaking tackles. Staying alive. Marquez Stevenson with a convoy. Down the sideline. Touchdown. Has a flag been thrown? It looks like one has back upfield.
Two kickoff returns last season for Stevenson, second in the country with that kind of production. He is a game breaker on offense, a game breaker on special teams. We'll see if any of the blocking in the convoy that got him there might ultimately take this one back. And it's on Tulane. This one's going to hang tight. And how about that for a little juice? We talked about Houston having a tough time. Nothing sparks a sideline quite like a special teams play, because everybody on offense and everybody on defense gets a little extra time to rest.
Boy, the rare penalty flag thrown against the coverage team in this situation. So the touchdown stands. Marquez Stevenson picking up right where he left off last year. Tied second best in America with a couple of kickoff return touchdowns last season. And he puts Houston back on top with a kickoff return touchdown of 97 yards. They call him Speedy for a reason. (35-31) Cougars.
And we know Speedy's the name, but vision is what gets it done here. Working through contact, the cutback, and then the wherewithal to slow down. He sees the group in front of him, and he stays right alongside that cavalry of red jerseys, and understand that's his ticket to the promised land. So speed gets the party started here, but it's the vision in the field that comes with being a veteran returner that gets it done.
Cougars, one of the best in America in all areas of special teams, and behind the play you can see that altercation right there is what drew the flag.
I believe the flag ultimately went for a face mask, and you can see the Tulane defender that just got, we call that burping him on that play. Get him on the ground and you get him burped, all of a sudden responded with the face mask. So some wild swings in this game right now. A great response drive by Tulane, met with a quick answer.
5.5 minutes still remaining in the third quarter. And it's 35-31 Houston. Well, the All-State Good Hands field goal net program continues. For every field goal and extra point kicked this season by participating universities, All-State will make a contribution to the university's general scholarship fund. We thank All-State. Can Tulane respond again? A moment ago, Michael Pratt led a touchdown drive that gave Tulane the lead, and now he'll have to do it again.
Pratt dialed in on the sideline, counting him up.
But that's an involved quarterback. He's out there, and he notices that they're down a guy. We've only got 10 on the field. And he's right. And they go through the back of the end zone for a touchback, but Tulane only had 10 players on the field on kickoff return, and the true freshman quarterback realized it.
And we've seen him dialed in like this in the second half. A great shot downfield to Deuce Watts on that play. But it's the ability to take what's there to get his playmakers the ball. Amari Jones with a great short look, and then recognizing a mismatch in coverage. You've got Jaquan Jackson matched up with a safety on that corner, and he puts the ball whizzing it right past the defender for a great touchdown. He has looked poised and responded even after a penalty to start that last drive.
Low throw here, and it's incomplete. Let's check in with Chris.
You guys notice him dialed in. He is like that on the sidelines non-stop. The coaching staff told us he's got swag. It oozes out of him. I am telling you, he does not even sit down. He paces the sidelines, constantly talking to his teammates. After that last Houston touchdown, he said, no big deal, we're just going to go score.
There you go. I mean, you need that kind of a strut in your quarterback, right? As it's 2nd down and 10. And he'll hand one off to Hutterson. 2.5 yards. It'll be 3rd down and a long 7, close to 8.
I gotta tell you, this makes my very still, at its core, overweight heart sing. Watching Amari Jones, we saw him as a pass catcher. We've seen him in the backfield, mixing it up last play as a lead blocker going through the middle out of that 2-back formation. He can do so much when he's on the field for you, and it's allowed him as a chess piece for them to move the tempo on offense because he can line up a receiver, he can line up as a back, and you don't have to change personnel to do that.
Three-man rush on 3rd down and 8. Pratt steps up in the pocket and nowhere to go. Dragged down near the line of scrimmage by DeAnthony Jones.
DeAnthony Jones backing off into coverage on this play. You see him popping off in the middle of the field, keeping his eye on the quarterback, and then putting his foot in the ground and coming downhill. Go on, big fella.
Marcus Jones in a bit of an adventure on punt return tonight, but he gets a block. Another good return for Houston. Out to their 41-yard line. They will have very good field position. And this week, electrifying quarterbacks highlight our Saturday night primetime game. De'Aaron King and number 7 Miami take on Trevor Lawrence and number 1 Clemson. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app.
This just in, Bob. These guys are really good at football. De'Aaron King, who everyone here at Houston familiar with watching change the face of games, but Trevor Lawrence looks like unquestionably the best player in college football. Excited to see him get a test against what's always going to be a very savvy, very active Manny Diaz coached Miami defense.
Quarterback keeper. Boy, we have seen the quarterbacks do terrific work faking with the football, and Clayton Tune with a great fake of his own and a run for 18.
And you see the exchange on the backside, going down underneath that linebacker outside, but great recognition by 64 Dennis Bardwell, seeing that linebacker flow back, getting just enough of a piece of him after the great read by the quarterback.
Tune does it again. This time dives forward for 4.
And Bob, you'll see a lot of defenses do this on the backside of read option plays. Patrick Johnson, number 7, the end, comes crashing down, and that linebacker will fill the space in that outside gap. That offensive line adjusted the last couple of plays, got just enough of the linebacker to get positive yardage. 4 yards on 1st down is a win every single time.
Wide open, Mulbacar. Nice one-on-one tackle, though. Pulled down by Willie Langham, and he gets up with a limp. And it looks like Mulbacar is going to take himself out.
Full line change here now for this Houston offense. 3rd and manageable here. We've seen them go to a slot a fair amount on these plays here. Bryson Smith, number 1, lined up in there now.
Timeout call. That came from Dana Holgerson on the sideline.
Houston. 30.
That's the first timeout called by the Cougars with 2.5 to go in the third. Again, this game taking place in Houston, but Houston all the way to New Orleans could potentially be impacted in the coming couple of days by yet another tropical system. Hurricane Delta making its way towards western Louisiana. And it has just been a highway, a train of tropical systems that has affected the Gulf Coast throughout this entire hurricane season.
You continue to think and pray about everyone's safety first and foremost. Everyone who's got families in the area wanting to know that they're going to be safe and sound.
After the timeout, catch made by Christian Trahan, the tight end.
And there's no thought process here, and I love it. Let's keep our foot on the gas and go for it. They know it's going to take points to win this game. They saw that response from Tulane.
Big opportunity here for the Tulane defense, though. They can get a stop on 4th and 2.
You see it loaded up. Your wideouts are going to have a one-on-one shot.
Tune on the slant, broken up. Bryson Smith, the intended receiver. Did he hold on to the football?
I can say he managed to stick with that grab. Again, one-on-one here with a safety, Larry Brooks, on the back end.
That is great coverage, and somehow Bryson Smith able to take that one in. What a catch. Fourth down conversion keeps the drive alive for Houston. Tune extending the play. Down the sideline, at the goal line, this one is hauled in, and it is a touchdown. Nathaniel Dell. They call him Tank. And he is able to find the end zone for a Houston score.
Make sure he's able to maintain possession all the way to the ground as he just keeps working here. And a great job by Tune. 3-man rush, buy time, get it to your receiver downfield. Now we'll have to wait and see from that other angle if he's able to hold on to that ball all the way through, landing on the other side.
And did he get into the end zone before he was down? It looks like he is on the goal line before his knee touches. It used to be, with replays of catches, all you were looking for is maybe if the ball hit the ground, but it is an adjustment to the rule where they've clarified that the ball can touch the ground if, in the judgment of the officials, the receiver has complete control of the ball when it touches the ground. And this looks like a ball that Dell controls all the way to the ground.
And I think in this instance, called a touchdown on the field. There's not going to be enough from any angle we've seen to overturn that right now. He gets that second hand underneath.
So they're not only looking to see if indeed Tank Dell did control the ball all the way through the catch, but also if perhaps his knee was down and before he broke the plane, and that freeze frame actually makes it look like the ball may end up on the half-yard line.
Great freeze by our camera crew right there. As again we said, as he goes to the ground, we saw no angle that indicated he lost possession, but that knee clearly down there. This one probably going to get spotted at the half-yard line. Give them a chance to pound it in here, maybe get back to that diamond set we saw earlier.
Or is this a spot where if you Tank Dell, you get maybe within earshot of Dana Holgerson, you're like, coach, fade, corner fade.
Don't you do this to me again,
right?
Bob.
When you're taken down at the half-yard line.
I understand the plight of our wide receiver brethren, but this is pound the rock territory.
First and goal, quarterback sneak. The push for Clayton Tune. They scored a touchdown earlier in the game on quarterback sneak. This time Tune comes up about a half-yard shot.
And you see the concerted effort by Tulane defensively They see what's coming. They understand what's coming. Line up in that same formation. Get it out and hand it off to one of your guys. You've got a walk-in somewhere waiting for you on the edge with all the focus under center at the quarterback spot.
And they will give it to one of the running backs. That's Kyle Porter, and he dives in for the touchdown.
And we had seen that formation a couple of times there, Bob. Better job on the exchange. Gets just enough of them, and then on the inside, it's just elbows and a word I can't say on TV. And you dive right over the top of that mass of humanity and find your way in.
It is cable.
You know what? It's like, I've heard this. My dad told me this day one. You could say anything once.
Right. If you'd like this to be your last game, feel free.
I'm having too much fun with you, Bob. I don't want that.
Good. 42-31. Houston, they gave away 21 points in the first quarter when their offense turned it over. But Clayton Tune has responded. Talk about having amnesia, right? You throw the pick six to start. You give up a scoop and score on a sack where you don't protect the ball, and all of a sudden you're down 2 touchdowns. Well, he has responded. 279 yards, and he's got 3 total scores after the 2 early giveaways.
We saw him make use of his legs on that last drive too. Make the defense have to think about a little bit of everything, but now that they've cleaned up those errors, those mental mistakes that come with this being your first football game, they settled in that halftime locker room and remind ourselves, guys, look what we're capable of in that first half as long as we just do the little things right.
Well, Michael Pratt's down by 2 scores. Now he's got a smile on his face. You wonder if that sometimes might not be a quarterback's best friend, because at some point now, if you're a QB down by a couple of scores, you start looking at the play caller going, you know, you're going to have to let me throw it, and throw it a lot.
And this is the beauty of where they're at, though, right now. 11 points in an entire quarter as that ball comes off the tee, and they'll re-tee that up. You've still got everything in your offensive repertoire right now. Your running backs have done a tremendous job as pass catchers for you. All of that is still in play to mimic a running game in the short area with passes. You don't have to expose your quarterback too much too soon.
It'll be a touchback as Jones lets that one sail into the end zone.
It really is impressive to see, though, Bob, a true freshman. I played with a redshirt freshman by the name of Everett Golson on my last season at Notre Dame. We ended up going undefeated, and I was always amazed at his demeanor on the sideline. For a guy that hadn't played high-level football like that before that year, to have that calm, and that permeates through the group. So seeing the way he addresses his teammates on the sideline, it's such a boost for everyone else to feel more comfortable not having to play outside yourself.
And they will go Wildcat and take Michael Pratt, split him out, and then run a trick play. And he's going to have to throw this one away. Houston was not at all fooled by the double reverse and the flea flicker. And a wise play by Michael Pratt. Trick play not working, don't force it. Live to fight another day.
And great discipline by the defense. Seeing and understanding 44. DeAnthony Jones again showing up. But a great job making the next step. Michael Pratt, who took a bad sack earlier in this game, getting rid of this one. Live to fight another down.
Although that last replay made it look like Amari Jones was wide open down the sideline, but the pressure coming, and Pratt didn't have time to see him. And here comes some more pressure, and down he goes. Derek Parrish gets the sack.
And this is important to remember. Starting left tackle, Joey Claybrook, out on this one, so you've got a backup here at left tackle. Getting beat clean by an experienced guy, Derek Parrish. Gets beat clean off the edge. Great hands by 31 in red. As a backup, getting a lot more action than he bargained for going into a game tonight. Joey Claybrook, an experienced player for them at left tackle, one of their best.
And Tulane is not going to get a snap off before the end of the third quarter. So we head to the fourth with Houston down big early, but a response by the Cougars. Al-Bakar with a touchdown. Speedy Stevenson, 97 yards on a kickoff return. Big plays for the Cougars. and an 11-point lead. Ball primetime. Bob Wischusen, Mike Golick Jr., Chris Budden heading to the fourth quarter. It's a shootout between Houston and Tulane. And we start the fourth with Tulane down by a couple of scores. Michael Pratt, he's going to take a shot. Trying for the deep ball again. The adjustment by Michael Jones. And it's incomplete.
And a great job on both counts here. Art Green in coverage. Hand fighting at the top of this route. Looking back for the ball. Hits him right in the stomach. I love the no call there by the officials. Yeah, he hadn't turned around, but both of them working for the football at the top of that one.
So a punt to start the fourth quarter as Ryan Wright sends it all the way down inside the 25-yard line. Room to run, though, for Marcus Jones. He gets a couple of blocks, and he's across the 50 before he's finally bumped out of bounds. Boy, the return game has been a big factor for Houston, and we'll see what the big-time quarterbacks have in store in our Saturday night primetime game. Trevor Lawrence and De'Ara King square off. Number 1 meets number 7. Clemson and Miami at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. And boy, what more can Trevor Lawrence do?
He's so impressive, and in this day and age where Patrick Mahomes has really spoiled all of us with what he can do on the football field, Trevor has some of those off-platform, running away, back across your body, massive arm strength kind of throws in his bag.
Chandler Smith for a couple of yards.
And you know, for this Clemson team, they're looking to replace a lot of talent at wide receiver. T. Higgins goes to the NFL. Justin Ross lost for the year due to surgery. Amari Rodgers has stepped up in a big way for them, made some big-time plays, some great one-handed grabs. They're going to need more consistent production there, though, as they start to take a step up in competition like this against a team like Miami.
Toon. He wants a deep shot for the end zone to Speedy Stevenson for the touchdown. Two years ago, Speedy Stevenson, first team All-American Conference. Last year, first team All-American Conference. Based on his performance tonight, I think he's on his way to a first team All-Conference selection. Again, he is a game-changing player.
And Clayton Toon's done such a great job all night. When he sees his receivers with favorable matchups against Tulane safeties, there's no question where that ball's going in his mind. And you're going to see another example of it right here for Stevenson. His eyes light up. You see Stevenson, number 5 here right in the slot. The quarterback understands he's got a safety matched up against him. That's Larry Brooks, number 31 right there. And as soon as he sees that snap, that ball's going towards the middle of the field. Defender flips his hip, and that is game time.
Well, we asked Clayton Toon, what's your favorite route to throw? I love throwing the deep post to number 5. There's a quarterback's favorite throw to his favorite target. He said, I just throw it as far as I can, and number 5 runs under it.
And I love to see a good bit of dancing in college football. Quarterbacks celebrating with the big boys. I always felt bad. Skill position players start running away when the good things happen. Quarterback understands Jack Freeman's not moving too far, too fast. I'm going to go celebrate with the guys that got me that. But how about the night for Stevenson? 118 yards receiving, a 97-yard kick return touchdown. He is every bit as advertised from last season, leading the charge for an experienced receiving group that, again, Dana Holgorsen, who coached some of those great Mountaineer teams, some of those great Houston teams in the past as an offensive coordinator, said is his fastest receiving corps he's ever coached.
And Clayton Toon hasn't missed in the second half. He is 8 for 8. The latest, the touchdown pass to Stevenson. Amari Jones brings it out. He's got a good return. Across the 35-yard line for Tulane before he's bumped out. Well, now this must, at least in some way, take Michael Pratt and Tulane out of their desired game plan. You still want, I'm sure, to mix the run in somewhat, but now you're down 3 scores to a team that certainly seems like your defense can't stop. Does this make them play one-handed?
Oh yeah, you got to go out and get after it now. And so I expect to see Amari Jones a lot more in the slot. Expect Deuce Watson to look his way early and often if he's got one-on-one matchups on the outside. They need chunk plays.
Pratt lassoed down on the sack by Peyton Turner.
Again, back up in at left tackle, and so you've got 98 Peyton Turner on him, and he just goes right around him. A great hand chop on that outside arm against a guy who, again, is subbing in for number 79, Joey Claybrook. Went off with an injury earlier. Claybrook had become one of the best offensive linemen in the conference, and now they've gone in and keyed and put their best rusher on his backup.
Slant, and that's coughed up by Fat Watts. Will that be ruled a completion and a fumble? It is not. They'll say incomplete. So it's 3rd and 17. If you're a receiver, you not only have to catch the ball and get 2 feet down, but you have to put it away and make a move common to the game, some kind of a football move, so you become a runner. And in the official's judgment there, he had not made that football move. As soon as the second foot hit, the ball popped out. So 3rd and 17. 4-man rush. Screen pass, hurried, and Hutterson couldn't hold on. And now it's 4th and 17.
And now this is a drive where you really have a chance to put it away. If you're Houston, already up 18, your defense is able to hold them there and really get after them with 4 rushers. We talked about that as such a key for Tulane. Houston's defense, led by Peyton Turner up front especially. Derek Parrish with the sack earlier in the game, leading a charge for their 4-man rush.
Marcus Jones lost the football. And who's got it? Tulane. Just the break that Tulane needed. A turnover as Marcus Jones has it stripped right out of his hands. And I think it may have been stripped out by his own man.
This was absolutely one of his own blockers here. You'll see him field it cleanly, but now one of his own players trying to get involved and make a play, make a block on that. And we saw this earlier, a fumble for Stevenson on the offensive side where it hits off his own leg. And here he's trying to cut back. That ball held just a little too loose in all of that clutter. This is the only thing that's kept Tulane in the game all night. Got a chance to go right for the end zone here on the very first play.
Pratt on the run, flag down, and he throws it away.
Should be a holding right here, bringing this one back.
After the play, foul, very rough. Defense, 15-yard penalty, and automatic.
And just a backbreaker for Houston defensively after a great play. Look at right here, Grant Stewart, 0 for Houston. Reading the screen the entire way, seeing Cameron Carroll coming out of the backfield, getting right in line with him. That whole defense rallies to the ball, you get the hold. But then on the back end of that, to give them an easy first down, inexcusable.
I'm not sure if that little bump on the quarterback was the penalty that they got. If it was, that was an awfully soft personal foul. Unless it was elsewhere on the play, something we couldn't see, but it does give Tulane a first down. Now they come up empty on first down, so it's 2nd down and 10 with 12.5 to go. And grinding out 2 or 3 yards on the ground. It'll be 3rd down and about 8 as Cameron Carroll picked up a couple.
We've talked so much about the analytics in these situations, understanding before the drive, Will Hall, their offensive coordinator, what he's got to work with. Down 18, you know you're in 4-down territory from here on out. 12 minutes is plenty of time, but you still got to go.
Long throw to the sideline. Back shoulder missed time for Michael Jones. And now it's 4th down and 8 in plus territory. You're probably compelled to go for it with 11:48 to go in the game, down by 3 scores.
Absolutely, and just understanding the clip that Houston's been scoring at, again, outside of turnovers, this Houston offense has been automatic in the second half, so you've got to continue to go for it here. Deuce Watts has been money for you all night. I'd look Tu's way. 11 also on the field in the slot. Great matchup if you've got that linebacker, and we see Grant Stewart out over him right now. Could be a great spot.
Kicking a field goal here would cut the lead to 15, but they will go for it. And they'll pay the price as Pratt goes down. It's another sack for what has been a terrific night for the defensive line for Houston, as Torres Payne is able to bring down Pratt, and it's a turnover on downs.
ESPN College Football is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
A Houston legend, Bill Yeoman, passed away this summer at 92 years of age. And talk about leaving behind a legacy. Talk about impacting the game. The inventor of the Veer offense. To say that you invented an offensive system that then permeated so many different offensive systems around the world of football as his old team goes back to work with 11.5 minutes to go and a 3-score lead.
And to honor and celebrate him, you saw pictures and the cutouts of him. What a cool feature through college football. I've seen some great stories about cutoffs and the big stories behind them, the cutout there. But to honor a legend like that at your school on, again, an opening day for Houston football that's been so long in the making, a very fitting time to honor and tribute for a legend.
Diamond formation on 2nd down and 7. And off to Keelan Walker, and that is good for a first down. Now, I love watching Dana Holgorsen on the sideline, much like Mike Leach. Now, you see, especially NFL coaches, with these monstrous laminated 5,000 play game plans. And you see Dana Holgorsen, there it is. See it in his left hand? That's the game plan. Mike Leach will have like an index card, and he'll just give a number. And that number is the system play, and that's it. The quarterback knows it, and it just could not be simpler and obviously could not be more effective.
They always talk about the air raid, that 3-day air raid install. And we know Mike Leach, who had so much success against the defending national champions in week 1 for them in the SEC, in large part because even with an abbreviated offseason, you're a new head coach there. It is an offense that's very easy to install. Now, Mike Leach's version that doesn't feature a lot of running, that is very boom or bust like that, we saw the very next week how it can go the opposite direction quickly. But to get off the ground, it's an offense that you can definitely get in place, especially when you've got great athletes like they've got here at Houston, certainly like they've got at Mississippi State.
And the Cougars with the play clock at 5, 2nd down and 7. And it's another bully first down right up the middle for Keelan Walker.
And these are the moments you crave as a guy up front. We've highlighted Braylon Jones, number 52, their right guard, a couple of times tonight. But him, Jack Freeman, these guys working overtime because now they know you've got the chance to put a game away. And a quote from the great Joe Moore, one of the greatest offensive line coaches of all time: no greater feeling than moving a man from point A to point B against his will.
End around. Speedy Stevenson gets a block. A little high step to the outside with flags everywhere. That's the tight end, Christian Trahan. That will be called for a hold out on the edge.
You're going to see right out here, starting to play 85, and this is working off that counter action. So you've got everyone going one way, trying to get it back across there, but big guy in space. And that's another one. It looks like he got his hands off in time. That's a bit of a suspect hold from my angle.
Cut back run for Terrell Brown. And he thought he was going to break a tackle and get a lot more than he did. You know, when an offensive line really works in concert with one another, it's fun talking to the offensive line coach, right? Who was the best offensive line coach you ever had, and what impact did a really good offensive line coach have on you and that unit as a whole?
Harry Heastan was my offensive line coach my last year at Notre Dame. Obviously birthed a ton of All-Americans there. When you think of Ronnie Stanley, Mike McGlinchey, Quentin Nelson, the guys that are stars on Sunday now, and it was that consistent dedication to a standard in the room.
Just off the fingertips of Keith Corbin on a deep shot. It'll be 3rd and long.
But understanding what was expected of you, the attention to detail up front every day, because you're right, when 5 guys see the game through one set of eyes, you can make pretty amazing things up happen. That level of cohesiveness, spending so much time together, watching so much film together, really being the point of the spear, a group that your team can rely on, that all starts with the tone set by a coach. And Coach Heastan is one of the absolute best men I've ever been around, but certainly his attention to detail and the standard he held that room to makes such a huge difference.
Up the middle on 3rd and long goes Walker. And that will take us under 8 minutes to go. And it will be a punt for the Cougars. And when you watch on tape a really good offensive line, it's amazing the synchronicity with which the group moves. Right? Footwork, like everyone's first step is the same. Everyone's second step is the same. And it's really the only unit in this sport that all has to move in exact synchronicity for it to really be effective.
I always give defensive backs credit. They're small offensive linemen in my book because it's another group that relies so much on each other and performs one of the most unnatural skill sets. Both have to go backwards against some of the best athletes in the world and try and use enough technique to maintain.
Houston will take the delay. Let me also add, as the one half of the broadcast team here, that normally I'm here with Dan Orlovsky, a skinny, full head of hair, perfectly coiffed quarterback.
It's amazing.
I really feel much more at home with this pairing, I have to say. Like, you're my people.
Oh, listen.
You know what I mean? Bald, the waistline, not necessarily.
This booth has its hand.
Number one bullet point.
This booth has its hand firmly planted in the dirt. There is no doubt about it. We are a phone booth.
Amari Jones with the fair catch. Midway through the 4th, Tulane has the football back.
Top 2, each battling in prime time. Saturday at 7:30 on ABC and ESPN.
Number 1 and number 2 in primetime on ABC and ESPN on Saturday night. Since the start of 2015, our expert analysis when we saw this graphic, Mike Golick Jr., earlier tonight was that Clemson is good.
What if I told you that we seem to be on track yet again for another Clemson and Alabama national championship? Also, water is wet and both of us are hungry. Things that surprise absolutely nobody. Alabama hell of a start to their season. Mac Jones picking up very well for Tua Tagovailoa, who's now waiting for his turn in the Miami Dolphins. We've talked so much about the air raid tonight. It is fully on display in the SEC now as well, and that's not just Lane Kiffin and Mike Leach.
Deuce Watts picks up a first down. It's odd to me as well that so many would wonder, oh, Tua, he leaves Alabama. What kind of an impact is that going to have? Well, go back through all of the great teams that Nick Saban has had at Alabama, national championship level teams, as Pratt takes a shot downfield, underthrown a bit, and incomplete, intended for Jacob Robertson. Before Tua, they never had a lottery pick quarterback. I mean, normally they were winning with their run game, with tremendous defense, with awesome offensive linemen. They have all of that. Najee Harris got 5 touchdowns already. Jalen Waddle's got 3 touchdowns as well. But they never needed the top of the first round star quarterback to win. That was almost a new thing, having a Tua Tagovailoa there that performed at that level at that position.
Nick Saban saw for so long the only thing that really ever had a chance at beating them mobile quarterbacks that could make extra effort plays. Think Johnny Manziel's, think some of those old Ole Miss teams. And so he said, all right, fine, I'll get one of those too, because you're right, it used to be A.J. McCarron, our great colleague Greg McElroy, who were great guys in that role. But now you've got playmakers and at those offensive skill positions, and they've built it up in that way in such a short amount of time and show no signs of ever going back.
Stephon Hutterson picks up the first down for Tulane, but they need to hurry. This has to be on the gas pedal right now for the Green Wave, down by 3 scores with 6 minutes to go.
Rolling to the line today. The previous play is under further review.
Well, it looked as if they had given Hutterson the first down. Now they spot the football, and it looks like they're about a foot short. Will it be 4th down? They'll check when we come back. Our spotlight brought to you by Taco Bell takes us to this trio. The skill position players have stepped it up tonight for Houston.
And that's ignoring Marquez Stevenson Speedy's 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown in this one as well. The Stars as advertised.
Well, they confirmed the ruling on the field that was indeed a 4th down forced by the Houston defense. And now going for it on the sneak is Michael Pratt on 4th down at about a ½ yard. And it looks as if the officials will mark him short. And it is indeed a takeaway on downs for the Houston defense with 6:04 to go. So unable to pick up about a ½ yard on 4th down. Michael Pratt on the quarterback sneak and controlling the line of scrimmage, the interior of that Houston defensive front.
And a great surge up front by them. You saw Pratt tried to run up to the line at that last second, see if he could catch them off guard, but that D-line ready to go in and submarine. More elbows on the word I can't say. You get the idea, but that is what they're taught in those situations. Go down, crab out, try and get the quarterback's feet out from under him.
Well, Tulane will be heading home, and Chris Budden, they'll be getting home past curfew, it looks like.
They will. In fact, they're getting dangerously close to missing it right now. 10:30 is their curfew every single night. Really, Fritz put this in place as the protocols for this season to help keep his team safe. And 10:30 for a college kid, Mike, you're the one closest to all of us as to being in college. That is really early for a college kid, but in New Orleans, that's like dinner time.
Yeah, Chris, that's a little easier to sell in South Bend, Indiana. New Orleans, the restraint and the commitment by these athletes is remarkable. Having spent some time down there briefly in the offseason with the New Orleans Saints, I can tell you I sampled almost every restaurant down there. I can tell you where to get the best beignets, and I can probably help you find the 15 pounds I picked up down there too.
My first night in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, the Hurricanes showed up, and it all went downhill from there.
Usually how it goes. You and a long list of the rest of us,
That's
Bob.
right.
Great company.
Clayton Tune towards the end zone. Keith Corbin laying out. He couldn't haul it in. I remember doing Temple basketball back in the days of John Chaney. And he used to have his teams practice, I think, at 6:30 in the morning. And I used to say, well, 6 or 6:30 in the morning, why would you do that? So well, when you practice at 6:30 in the morning, at 10 o'clock, you know right where your players are.
As someone who worked for the last 3 years on a morning radio show, really the last 5, I can attest to that.
Yes.
It is a hell of a deterrent.
Tulane shows blitz. And now Toon changing things up. 3 on the play clock. 3rd down and 5. They barely get the snap off. And getting hit right at the line of scrimmage. Dorian Williams is able to bury Terrell Brown and force a 4th down. Let's see what Houston does with 5 minutes to go in plus territory on 4th down. I'll send out the field goal unit, it looks like.
And you knew Dana Holgorsen wasn't going to be able to resist taking that shot that he did on the play before. But this Houston offense for really the last 4 minutes has been in what you always term when you're installing it, 4-minute offense. Grinding out the clock, trying to milk it, bleed it down here when you've got a lead like this. Go out there and lean on these guys.
And it does not look like Houston has enough personnel on the field. They may only have 10 in the formation. They were trying to beat the play clock, but they're going to call a timeout now. That also might be the rust of not playing 5 games to start the season. This is the beginning of your year. You know, so many times in NFL preseason, you see fire drills sometimes on special teams, running players on and off. You don't have preseason football in college football. You go right from your spring game to summer practice to regular season football, and you see some of these substitution mistakes, especially in your first game.
And I tell you, there's nothing more dangerous than a coach coming off of a win with things like that to correct, because they know, all right, we got out of this, we're coming out of it 1-0, but they take every opportunity they can to lean in as we see the missed kick there on the extra point.
So Dalton Witherspoon misses a chance to add 3 more. I think she's happy with an 18-point lead. Get after it.
Work.
Sports Center standing by. John Anderson, Michael Eaves will talk to Trevor Maddich about how Miami could pull off a Clemson upset. We'll see. Plus, live postgame coverage of Bucks Bears and a breakdown of the 4 MLB Division Series in action. The Yankees find a way to force a Game 5 with the Rays. Sports Center after college football next here on ESPN and the ESPN app. Bob Wischusen, Mike Golick Jr., and Chris Budden bringing you Thursday night primetime college football. Tulane and Houston here in the American. And early in the game, Tulane 3 takeaways in the first quarter, 5 overall. And yet they're down by 3 scores with 4 minutes to go. Michael Pratt squeezes one through. And that looks to be good enough for a first down, as Christian Daniels has the catch.
Great hands catch by Christian Daniels, too. The converted quarterback guy's a heck of an athlete, still really learning the position, but they think could have a bright future there. And these reps all still matter. You've got a young, true freshman quarterback. You've got an offense that you're continuing to try and grow and develop. All these are important shots at your 2-minute offense.
Pratt tripped up but maintains his balance and picks up a first down. Ridden down by David Anini, but not before he moves the chains with 3.5 minutes to go.
And listen, I shouldn't rule anything out. I've watched Big 12 football this year. We've seen crazy comebacks. I was there for Texas and Texas Tech, and when I say there, I mean in my living room watching like most everybody else in the country. Anything is possible, though we know it unlikely as we sit here.
Out of the pocket again is Pratt. Heaves one downfield, had a wide open Christian Daniels and missed him. And he gets up with a limp.
And they moved Jalen Miller, who had been switching over at right tackle, into that left tackle spot for the injured Joey Claybrook, able to hold on a little bit longer against Derek Parrish as we get the heave downfield. And that hit wide open there, but just a great job of staying with the rush by Derek Parrish, getting just enough to make the throw uncomfortable for Pratt.
Right up the middle. Running room for Cameron Carroll. You know, Tulane, with that game, only has 218 yards of total offense. So don't let the 31 points fool you. They got 2 defensive scores and a short field for their 3rd score with another Houston giveaway. 5 Cougars turnovers. Without those 5 Houston turnovers, this game would be far more lopsided than it even is, and it's a 3-score lead.
And pretty incredible when you think about it. They sit with 80 yards rushing right now. They've got a streak of 56 consecutive games with 100 yards rushing, does Tulane. That's the kind of production they're used to around here, and that's the kind of off night it's been for this offense.
Pratt with the pocket collapsing again. They just can't protect as Peyton Turner gets through for another Houston sack.
And we mentioned it, you move a guy in Jalen Miller, number 61, who's used to rotating in at that right tackle spot with the true freshman Trey Tuggle. Now he's switching completely to the left side, and there's a lot of places to cross-train, but that's a difficult spot to flip in the middle of a game when you're not prepared to, and you probably haven't practiced there as much during the week. And so a guy like Peyton Turner, who was already expected to be one of the better rushers on this team, been having a lot of success. Really, this entire Houston D-line has on that left side.
Incomplete on 2nd and 14, but a flag is out. Giovanni Stewart, the linebacker, in coverage.
They've gotten there a bit early.
Pass interference, number 9, defense.
That's a grad transfer from West Virginia who spent 3 years under Dana Holgorsen playing in Morgantown. And he had wrapped up the tight end Christian Daniels.
And again, you got to do your best as a coach to treat this as a situation. Minute 30 left, 3 timeouts. You want your young quarterback going out here and taking command of this offense, using the snap count like that.
Offside for 10. 5-yard penalty.
So the true freshman Chidozie Nwankwo jumps in the neutral zone.
Listed at 5'11". We call that a low center of gravity. That's a tough man to move.
Low man wins.
Always.
Back shoulder throw, broken up. Deuce Watts, the intended receiver.
Incredible job staying with it. Watch the left arm of number 25, DJ Small here, coming up at the end of the play, punching that football out on Deuce Watts. Deuce Watts with a couple of great contested catches tonight, really going up and get it. They were looking for guys to emerge in this receiving corps. He's one I think has a pretty bright future.
5-man rush. That goes right through the hands of Hutterson. So it will be 3rd down and 5. What has Michael Pratt shown you tonight?
I think a lot of poise and the ability to turn the page after early mistakes. We saw trouble operating the offense, getting guys up, aligned, and set in the right time. A couple of false start penalties. That sack that set them up for 2nd and 21, I think back in the 2nd quarter, that really stalled the drive at a critical juncture. And since then, he's played more within himself. He's avoided a lot of those big mistakes and made some of the throws that are there, took some good shots downfield.
And he takes another sack here. 6 sacks on the night for Houston as they bring a blitz on 3rd down, and it will be 4th down.
Manny Nunnery, you're going to want to watch number 14 in the middle of this defense here, and just great timing. We had seen them getting beat on so many 4-man rushes, and so Sincere Hayworth, the center, Hainsworth, excuse me, bailing out, trying to help one of his guys, and 14 times that rush downhill perfect.
So under a minute to go, one more chance for Pratt on 4th down and 12. And he'll simply heave this one down the sideline out of bounds. It'll be victory formation for Houston. They gave it away 5 times and had to wait 53 days of camp to play their first game of the season, but they will begin with a win tonight. How about our Saturday slate? What games jump out at you on what really is wall-to-wall starting at noon with 2 ranked versus ranked games all the way up to number 1 and number 2 both playing in primetime?
Yeah, I think obviously we've talked about Clemson and Miami, just an unbelievable conference matchup in the ACC. But Kyle Trask and this Florida offense have been monsters in the early going of this season. Texas A&M licking their wounds after last week and get the reward of getting to play a Gators offense that's got one of the best connections in the country with him and his tight end Pitts.
And one more chance to carry the football, as Houston will give one to James Fulbright. And that should be, I would think, the final play of the game. So it was a rusty start as expected for the Cougars. 5 giveaways, allowing 2 Tulane defensive scores early. And yet once they shook the rust off, it was a pretty dominant performance from that point out.
They always call it hidden yardage. Special teams stepped up big for them tonight. Marcus Jones, their punt returner. Stevenson is a kick returner. And this team, imagine what they can accomplish, the coaches will say, if we take better care of the football. Sky's the limit right now.
Well, Speedy Stevenson put on a show, and Dana Holgerson's team gets a 49-31 win in their opener. For Mike Golick Jr. and Chris Budden and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Bob Wischusen. Thanks so much for watching. Michael Eaves, John Anderson, they are standing by. It's time for SportsCenter.